Hello, welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. If you want more content, you can follow me on Patreon. I will be uploading more content on there that will be exclusive. The link is in the description. Please support me. 11 SWTF Chapter 251 Previous Chapter Next Chapter Advertisement. Every gray-black thunderbolt, Hanxing could feel the palpitating violent energy from it. "Are you advanced again?" whispered. As his thoughts turned, the gray lightning in Hanxing's hand began to converge and merge to form a thumb-thick, about 1 meter long lightning bolt. With a flick of his hand, the gray-black arc fell to the ground. There was no sound. The moment the gray-black lightning touched the ground, it was swallowed like a black hole, and a crack the size of the lightning appeared quietly. The crack was bottomless, and the inside was charred black, and the pungent temperature was blowing in the face. The soil on both sides of the crack is like lava, dark red, and the temperature is terrifying. Hanxing didn't watch it carefully. He has already released the electromagnetic induction and immersed it in the crack to see how deep the crack is. 1 meter, 2 meters. It was not detected until about 10 meters. About 10 meters? Enough. Hanxing pondered. The power of this thunderbolt is at least 1.5 billion volts. Moreover, I can wave thousands of these thunderbolts, and the chakra consumed is negligible. Every thunderbolt can be compared to S-class ninjutsu. No, it is a super S-class forbidden technique. It is many times stronger than Sasuke's lightning-style Kirin. Based on Thunderfruit, and later, develop various yin and yang escape techniques in mind, as well as space ninjutsu. Hanxing thought to himself. Afterwards, 500 shadow clones were distributed to get familiar with and develop the newly advanced thunder power. In the separation of 500 shadow clone to practice the yin and yang escape in the mind. Finally, 500 shadow clones are divided to practice or develop space ninjutsu. Advertisement. Hanxing himself was sitting alone in the wet bone forest, carefully comprehending the changes in his body after the breakthrough. Needless to say about the body, my shadow clone is being tested, and I believe the results will be available soon. Not to mention chakra, it has doubled about 5 times. Spiritual energy. The spiritual body in the mind is not growing at all, but there is a large forest directly around it, about a kilometer or so. Each tree is thick and lush, reaching the sky. This forest is all transformed by Hanxing's spiritual energy, and Hanxing's waist uses spiritual energy, and the first is the forest in front of him. This is not as simple as multiplying, at least several times. Thinking about it carefully, Hanxing felt that it was within the scope. After all, the 8th gate was the door, located in the mind, and in the original book, it lifted the limitation of the mind area. The only difference is that after his improvement, it is an all-round improvement for the body. System. Open my task panel. Open black lens bracket Chianye Hanxing close black lens bracket bloodline. Sage body bloodline limit. Thunderfruit, awakening, wood style. Taijutsu. 6 paths intermediate chakra. 6 paths advanced ninjutsu. 3 body technique, great fireball technique, Chidori. Overall strength. 6 paths advanced. Is 6 paths advanced? What do I say? How can the strength increase so much? Hanxing frowned and whispered. After he broke through, he had a division of this realm in his mind, which were primary, intermediate, advanced, and peak. 4 levels. In the original work, Naruto Sasuke got the Fairy of Sage of 6 paths, and his strength should have reached the intermediate level. The comprehensive combat power is 1 level lower than that of Hanxing. Obito became a 10 tails Jinchuriki and reached the 6 paths elementary level. Madara should also be the same as 6 paths intermediate in Naruto. The late sage of 6 paths should have reached the pinnacle of this state. Advertisement. And the same goes for his current goddess of Kagaya. On the other hand, Hanxing has reached the advanced level after breaking through the realm of 6 paths. If he guessed correctly, 8 inner gates played a big role. Although the strength has reached the advanced level of the 6 paths realm, the perception of this realm is very rare. In the confrontation of the 6 paths realm, the ordinary 5-element ninjutsu attack has little effect. What really works is the comprehension of yin and yang escape, physical art, and the limit of blood. The next time is to realize this realm, and then practice all kinds of yin and yang escape techniques in my mind. When will you cultivate the yin-yang escape technique to the ultimate and create life out of thin air? That's it, Hanxing thought to himself. In the cloudy sky, small ox hairs fell from the sky. Pedestrians in the surrounding are wearing mink clothes and busy with their work. It seems that they have long been accustomed to the weather here. A tall tower pierced into the sky, standing in the center of the surrounding buildings, like a group of stars over the moon. Top of the tower, in a dark, empty hall, a scrawny, with many black sticks stuck behind his back, can vaguely tell that he is a young man. The whole person is sitting in a special wheelchair, and those who see him for the first time will definitely be frightened by his current appearance. Thunderclouds loomed in the sky, illuminating his face, not exactly his eyes. There are oval-like 6 paths ripples in the purple pupil, which has the ability to destroy any country in the entire 5 countries. This person is exactly 6 paths Pain's body, Vortex Nagato. Next to him stood Conan and Obito. There must be news. It is said that Senju Hanxing has left Konoha and has nowhere to go. Uchiha Obito, wearing a spiral mask, looked into the distance, and said in a flat tone. Advertisement. Cough cough. What time? Nagato coughed. It should be almost a week. Let's go to Konoha and catch that kid Nine Tails. We must get it done before he comes back. Are you sure? I won't help you this time. I have my own business to do. Obito frowned, not optimistic about Nagato. No. Konoha doesn't have Senju Hanxing. I am an invincible existence. Nagato's thin body was filled with extreme confidence. Then be careful, as Obito spoke, there were ripples all over his body, and he was swallowed by the vortex of space. Nagato. Are we really going to Konoha? Conan was worried. He and the masked man were just a cooperative relationship, and now, the masked man leaked the news to them. No matter whether it was true or not, Conan dared not be careless. Even, from the collaboration until now, Conan has been on guard against Obito. Don't worry, with these eyes, he can't make any big waves, Nagato said coldly. Then when do we leave? Let's go now. Don't dream too much at night. Boom. Boom. In the twinkling of the lightning, I could vaguely see the expressionless figures of 6 paths standing behind Nagato. They were wearing Akatsuki coats with black iron rods in their faces. In their pupils, the purple Rinnegan was deep and deep. On the barren gray-black land, Hanxing floated in midair. The whole body is covered with a layer of gray fireworks, wearing a layer of gray energy clothes, and there are black hooks on the neck. Chapter 252 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. From this gray shirt, you can feel the power of destroying the sky and destroying the earth, and in the midair behind him, a trace of space ripples are looming. The shadow clone who was cultivating on the surface of the moon, for some reason, the pressure suddenly doubled, and some of the tired shadow clone could not bear it and disappeared into smoke. Looking up from the bottom, it looks like an evil spirit burning with gray flames, falling into the ninja world. This is exactly Hanxing's 6 paths chakra mode. It's just a preliminary master, it's not very complete, otherwise, the phenomenon just now won't happen. In this mode, Hanxing feels that all the 5 elements of ninjutsu can be as short as a mark, and even most of them are instant. Just like Thunderfruit, you can do it with a single thought. While thinking about it, Hanxing raised his hand and waved, and a sea of red fire with hot flames appeared around Hanxing. The ultra-high temperature directly affects the temperature of the lunar surface, making the originally icy temperature rise instantly. From a distance, a fire appeared in an endless black void, illuminating the entire starry sky. Hanxing waved his hand again, and the raging fire instantly turned into a red flame dragon. Click. Click. Perhaps the movement caused by Hanxing was a bit big. One after another was wearing various clothes, and there was a moon sign on the forehead protector on his forehead. His complexion was pale, and he held various weapons in his hands, rushing towards Hanxing in the sky. Is this the puppet of the Otsutsuki clan? Hanxing narrowed his eyes. Exactly. Take you guys to try this pattern. While his mind was spinning, Hanxing decided to pay attention. His expression did not change, and he waved his right hand. Advertisement. A sea of hot fire instantly appeared in front of these puppets, completely wrapping the puppets that appeared suddenly. The scorching temperature directly burned their clothes to ashes, revealing the puppet body inside. Visually visible to the naked eye, the bodies of these puppets began to become hot and black. At this time, a series of yellow light balls, with powerful energy, emanated from these puppets and attacked Hanxing at the outer edge of the Sea of Fire. The first is to directly emit 10 energy light balls. For a time, the dense golden energy light balls rushed out of the Sea of Fire like rain and flew towards Hanxing. Too weak. Feeling the energy on the golden yellow sphere, Hanxing shook his head slightly. Even if it is a large amount, it will not cause any harm to him today. There were ripples all over Hanxing's body, and in the next instant, the whole person was wrapped in space and disappeared in place. The ripples reappeared. Hanxing's body stepped out from the inside. Here, it has already reached the back of those puppets. It's a bit slow. Let's add one, whispered softly. Hanxing waved his hand again, and saw that the sea of crimson fire was burning, and suddenly there was a gust of wind inside. The strong hurricane, with a sharp cold glow, instantly melted into the Sea of Fire. When the dead word fell, a figure appeared in front of Hanxing. Advertisement. After a while, the puppet leader who was struggling to support was also burned to ashes by the hot Sea of Fire. Like the puppet just now, it turned into black stars and fell on the surface of the moon. Experimenting with ninjutsu? Killing all my guards? Otsutsuki said with a livid face. Hanxing squinted, looked at the young man below, and thought to himself, is it because of me that the sleeping Otsutsuki, who was in the fetal movement period, woke up, or because of those guards? Boom. Boom. No. But, I was absorbed by me. Hanxing's words made Otsutsuki, who was on the verge of rage, go berserk. In the sky-blue pupils, the pair of Tensigen twinkling with stars suddenly burst out with a pupil power that was as powerful as the ultimate. You took the Tensigen. Otsutsuki stared at Hanxing, his voice cold, word by word. The monstrous anger seems to have affected the surrounding environment, causing the desolate lunar surface to enter the lava hell in an instant. Like a black star shower, scattered on the surface of the moon, it is truly beautiful. It's me, I'm experimenting with ninjutsu. Who would have thought that they would suddenly rush out to kill me, and they would all kill me by accident? Hanxing shrugged, his expression a little embarrassed. At the same time, a violent aura shot straight into the sky, like a mountain topped by an ocean, slamming out from the deepest part of the moon, covering the entire lunar surface. The entire surface of the moon seemed to be affected by this breath, and began to vibrate violently, like an earth dragon turning over. Now that he was taken away or destroyed during the period of his fusion of Tensigen's fetal movement, this is absolutely unbearable for him. No matter whether this person took Tensigen or not, he must die. He has to have an object to vent. Who is it? Killed my guard, really looking for death. You killed my bodyguard? Advertisement. Some puppets with some flaws were directly burned to ashes with the appearance of the flame tornado. In the next instant, an even more terrifying power erupted, accompanied by a frantic roar. Ah! Tensigen of my ancestors, Tensigen. So far, the Otsutsuki puppet troops stationed on the moon have been wiped out by Hanxing. Tensigen can be said to be the heirloom of their Otsutsuki clan, and he was born with the responsibility of guarding Tensigen. The fire borrows the wind. The hot Sea of Fire suddenly turned into a flame tornado. Both the power and the burning speed have doubled. After a while, some of the intact Otsutsuki puppets also turned to ashes, and only the leader of the Otsutsuki puppet, who had just emitted 10 yellow energy balls, was supporting. In the end, it was his fault. He borrowed other people's territory, absorbed other people's Tensigen, and then killed their special guards. This. Cough cough. Hanxing is a bit bullying. Otsutsuki gave up, looked at Hanxing in the sky coldly, with a kind of arrogant contempt in his words. While Otsutsuki Shuren was talking, the man was already standing in the void, looking at Hanxing with a flushed face. He was wearing a simple blue and white robe. His pupils were not the black and white of ordinary people, but sky blue, and there seemed to be a star pattern in his deep and bright eyes. It's you, it's really you bastard, I want you to die. You die? Otsutsuki looked crazy. A dull voice, mixed with chakra, came from the depths of the moon. Hum. Hum. Suddenly, Otsutsuki Shuren seemed to have thought of something, and the figure suddenly disappeared in place. These eyes were the same as the scene Hanxing had just absorbed, and they were also Tensigen. He can feel the terrifying energy fluctuations from the Taoist body from above, but so what? With Tensigen, he is an invincible existence here. His voice was cold and majestic, like a king in high places. Chapter 253 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. At the same time, the chakra on his body and the bloodline of the Otsutsuki clan in his body were instantly activated, and the whole person was enveloped in a layer of green flames, just like the golden light of the Naruto Nine Tails chakra mode in the original book, turning into a green light. This is Otsutsuki's Tensigen chakra mode. Green flames covered Otsutsuki Shiren's body, and a terrifying aura erupted, as if it were a stormy sea, as if it spread around, causing the dust on the entire lunar surface to set off waves. This is not the end. Behind him, gradually emerged a black truth-seeking ball. 1, 2 until 9 formed a truth-seeking ball aperture, escorting around Shuren. The furious Otsutsuki Shuren directly turned on the strongest state. Hanxing didn't panic at all. A terrifying momentum also burst out from Hanxing's body. As soon as this momentum appeared, it quickly increased like a huge wave in the sea, and also set off a wave of dust on the surface of the moon. Boom! The two dust and airwaves spread, and finally collided, and the dust filled the sky in an instant, and the sky was covered by the sun. But for these, Hanxing and Otsutsuki don't care about them at all. Their eyes are only on each other. Reach out. Dark gray lightning turned into a long spear and appeared in Hanxing's hands. Although he doesn't have a truth-seeking ball now, his strength is a real 6 paths advanced. Hanxing doesn't know what the strength of Otsutsuki Shuren is, but he is definitely not as high as Naruto. At most, he is the same as Hanxing. He is only the senior of 6 paths. After seeing the power of Hanxing's outbreak, and the thunder spear in his hand, the furious Otsutsuki Shuren looked a little sober, his expression changed slightly, and he said coldly, "You have some strength. Your strength should be in the forefront of the ninja world below, but, in front of me, or this pair of in front of the eyes, it is not enough to see." Saying that, stretch your hand forward and grab it. A huge suction burst out from his hand, and this suction is many times stronger than pain's universal pull. The powerful suction is like a spinning black hole, attracting Hanxing's arrival. Advertisement. Even some gravels floating in the air in the distance were attracted by this suction and flew towards Otsutsuki Shuren. The Hanxing 6 paths mode is fully open, and the whole body bursts out with a dazzling dark gray light. The whole person is like a reef in the sea. Facing this suction, it stands still. Whoosh whoosh. At this moment, in the air behind Hanxing, the rubble floating in the starry sky rushed towards Hanxing. No. It should be sucked by Otsutsuki Shuren's suction. And Hanxing is a stumbling block for these gravel. Be a Land Rover. Hum. Hanxing's face was indifferent. Chakra surged on his body, and dark gray lightning turned into long spears, suddenly appearing behind Hanxing. At first glance, it looks like a lot of black and gray nails have grown on the back of Hanxing. Boom. Boom. The attracted rubble collided with the lightning spear behind Hanxing, and was penetrated by it in the blink of an eye. The gray spear suddenly turned into a gray barrier to wrap all the gravel, and in the flash of lightning, the tiny electric snake directly blasted it into slag. This is not the end. After he smashed the gravel into slag, the lightning flashed behind Hanxing, and the gray spears sprang from behind Hanxing, merging with the previous one. Form a gray lightning barrier to block the attack of the gravel behind you. Otsutsuki squinted his eyes, and a hint of surprise flashed in his heart, but he didn't expect that his suction was blocked. Do you really think you can stop it? With a cold sentence, Otsutsuki clenched his hand again, and the suction in his hand suddenly increased. Hum. The violent suction is like the recovery of the ancient gluttonous, swallowing the sky and devouring the earth. Hanxing's face wrinkled slightly, he felt his body shaking a little, and the chakra on his body erupted again, like a pillar in the sky that stopped his whole body, like a stubborn rock. Humph. Advertisement opposite Otsutsuki Shuren sneered. The root of his goal this time is not Hanxing, but... Whoosh. At this moment, A huge meteorite flew from the distance of the starry sky, with hot flames all over its body, like a stream of flames flying towards Hanxing. The loud noise behind him suddenly attracted Hanxing's attention. At this time, he was a fool when he didn't know what Otsutsuki was paying attention to. However, Hanxing did not panic, and looked at Otsutsuki Shuren with a sneer on his face. The evolved thunder fruit is far more powerful than this meteorite. Boom! The moment when the huge meteorite and the gray thunder barrier were about to collide. I saw that the gray barrier behind Hanxing suddenly grew gray to the thundering spears, and the entire lightning barrier was covered in the blink of an eye, just like the chariots of the elders stabbed in the ancient wars. Boom! The moment the two meet, there was no violent sound, but instead, the spear on the thunder barrier behind Hanxing inserted into the meteorite without hindrance. And the huge meteorite, with a strong impact, hit the lightning barrier in front of it. In the blink of an eye, the meteorite in front of him was enveloped by the lightning on the thunder barrier in the blink of an eye, swallowed up, and turned into ordinary gravel and fly ash. Otsutsuki looked at the scene in the distance in disbelief, his face extremely gloomy. I didn't expect that the gravitational force I was proud of would be cracked like this. Wave your left hand. Behind the black truth-seeking balls, they fly out, connect with each other, and rotate. A storm whose power was terrifying to the ultimate suddenly came out from inside and blasted towards Hanxing. Advertisement at the same time, Otsutsuki's faint voice rang in Hanxing's ear. The silver wheel is reborn. The terrifying storm formed by the truth-seeking ball, with the power to destroy the world, turned into a violent tide of energy, and swept towards Hanxing in a mighty manner, as if to blast Hanxing back to the ninja world. Facing the powerful move, even Hanxing's expression changed slightly. Clap your hands together. A giant vine rose from the ground and appeared in front of Hanxing in an instant. Hanxing bit his index finger, quickly formed a seal with both hands, and shouted, 5 Rashomon. Whoosh whoosh. One after another, ghost-faced doors with disgusting expressions appeared on the vines, blocking Hanxing. Crackle. Crackle. A streak of gray lightning instantly filled Hanxing's body. A dark gray ultimate thunder dragon suddenly condensed from Hanxing's hands. On the dark gray brontosaurus, all the scales are lifelike, and the whole brontosaurus comes alive. At the moment of its appearance, the void trembled, and the dark gray light was like a dazzling sun. Whoosh! Under the idea of Hanxing, the dark gray brontosaurus rushed towards the storm of destruction ahead. At the same time, Hanxing's faint voice sounded. 8 billion volts Thunder Dragon destroys the world. Chapter 254 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. In the next instant, the gray Thunder Dragon and the Silver Wheel reincarnation bombed together in an instant. Boom! A roar that was terrifying to ultimate broke out on the entire moon, and even woke up all the sleeping people in the entire ninja world, looking at the sky with inexplicable horror. At this time, the ninja world is at night, and the moon hangs high on the dark night. The collision of Hanxing's dark gray thunder dragon and the reincarnation of the silver wheel directly set off a monstrous wave on the entire lunar surface. Even in the ninja world, it can be clearly seen that on the full moon hanging in the night sky, a gray thunder dragon, showing its teeth and dancing claws, screaming in the sky, seems to be fighting something. This scene, whether it was civilians or enduring it, was inexplicable. They didn't know what to do. They could only stare blankly at the full moon hanging in the night sky. Now, on the moon, the huge roaring sound is incessant, and the silver wheel reincarnates and bursts with the power of destroying the world. Wherever it passes, a huge crack appears in the void, like a trace of the sky, and a chaotic space storm can be vaguely seen inside, surging towards Hanxing. But a dark gray thunder dragon with extremely terrifying fluctuations appeared out of thin air. It walked before the world-destroying storm, and the gray claws composed of terrifying thunder and lightning exude a palpitating cold light, and its 4 claws stretched forward, forcibly blocking the storm of destruction directly. It was able to stop my silver wheel reincarnation explosion. Otsutsuki Shiren's face fluctuated, obviously surprised. The space behind Otsutsuki's body swayed with ripples, and Hanxing quietly appeared behind him. Crackle! Crackle! The terrifying thunder filled the dark gray fist, and slammed into the back of Otsutsuki Shuren with a thunderous momentum. Advertisement, not good. After hearing the sound behind him, Otsutsuki Shuren was startled again and again, his figure moved, and he stepped into the void. But no matter where he goes, the fist behind him is like a shadow. It seems to have pierced through the space, stopped time, and suddenly bombarded his back. Boom! A roar resounded throughout the moon, and the whole moon trembled. The Fist of Terror Dao Ultimate burst out behind Otsutsuki Shuren. The monstrous strength, carrying the power of destroying the sky and destroying the earth, made Otsutsuki Shuren turn into a green meteor and fall towards the surface of the moon. Click! Click! Otsutsuki Shuren was hit by this huge force, and the whole person couldn't get rid of it at all. He seemed to hear the sound of bones breaking in his body. On him, there are also terrifying dark gray thunderbolts that roamed his body and devoured his body. These thunderbolts not only attacked his body, but also attacked his soul. It was like 10,000 ants gnawing and biting, causing his whole body to be in constant pain, and even his body was almost out of control. It is also fortunate that he is a character of the 6 paths level. If he turns into other people, not to mention the thunder and lightning, even the fist behind him can be instantly smashed into slag by its violent energy. Boom! Otsutsuki Shuren was successfully bombarded by Hanxing's fist to the ground of the moon. The monstrous roar sounded again, and the terrifying force on the entire lunar surface trembled. A burst of dust and waves ensued, and a bottomless pothole was vaguely captured by Hanxing in the sky. With this crater as the center, an abyss-like crack spans the entire moon, as if to divide the moon into 2 halves. A passerby murmured. Advertisement. A pair of sky-blue pupils stared at Hanxing, who appeared not far in front of him at some point, silver teeth clenched tightly, and there was a strong murderous intent in his eyes. He's going to go to sleep, and when he wakes up, he'll restore the moon to its original shape. Puff. Anyway, he is the only one left in the entire moon now, which is really not good. Later, I will use my own ability to restore the moon to its original state. At the moment when his thought flashed, a faint voice cut through the dark night sky and appeared in his ears. If I knew earlier, I should have used the strongest power from the beginning, Otsutsuki Shuren said gloomily. When thinking of the giant dragon that just appeared on the moon, everyone couldn't help swallowing, and there was a hint of fear in their hearts. At this moment, even in the ninja world, it can be clearly seen that a dazzling golden light of ultimate appeared on the surface of the moon. Staggeringly floated out of the crater and appeared on the lunar ground. Otsutsuki Shuren's golden wheel reincarnation explosion directly bisected the moon and split it in half. But the golden wheel is reborn. Otsutsuki Shuren waved his hand next time, and the truth-seeking balls burst into dazzling rays of light, lighting up the entire starry sky in an instant. Otsutsuki Shuren, holding a golden streamer that seemed to run through the sky, suddenly slashed towards Hanxing. Saying that, he stretched out his hand and grabbed the sky abruptly. That? What is that? Advertisement. The next moment, in the horror and disbelief in the eyes of countless civilians and ninjas in the ninja world, they split up. This attack is really not ordinary. If I was hit in the front, I would definitely die, no more. In the distance, Truth-Seeking Ball, who was facing off against Thunder Dragon, seemed to have received an order, and suddenly threw off Thunder Dragon and flew towards Otsutsuki Shuren. It was a long golden line, with no end in sight at a glance, like a line of stars gathered from endless stars, which seemed to have surpassed the surface diameter of the moon. Finally dead. But you can die under this move, and you can be considered dead. Seeing Hanxing's death, Otsutsuki's anger dissipated. These are nothing, but what really upset him was that he, who possessed Tensigen, was so easily blasted and injured by Hanxing. This was a shame he absolutely could not accept. The strength disappeared, and Otsutsuki Shuren's whole body was pitch black, with a faint smell of burnt smell, and a mouthful of blood suddenly spewed out of the air. Puff. Once the soul is involved, even if he is a 6 paths level, it is a bit tricky, and it takes some means to recover. The golden light swayed and attacked the surface of the moon in an instant, almost unobstructed, sweeping from one end to the other. Boom! In the next instant, under the gazes of countless civilians and ninjas, the golden light suddenly slashed towards the moon below. It's your honor to die under this trick. Black truth-seeking balls suddenly appeared in front of Otsutsuki Sharon, surrounding him. Taking a long breath, looking at his actions, his brows frowned. This was not the result he wanted, but if he could kill the boy on the opposite side with this move, it would not be a loss. It's really looking for death. Looking for death? Otsutsuki roared fiercely. For the 6 paths level, this is nothing, as long as he can rest assured for a few days. What really troubles him is that those lightning can attack the spirit. Chapter 255 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. Hearing this voice, Otsutsuki Shiran's pupils shrank violently, and turned around with horror and disbelief in his heart. You didn't die? A little bit. Just a little bit dead, Hanxing said flatly. At the moment when the golden giant sword fell, Hanxing did not hesitate at all, and his entire body burrowed into the space, dodging the attack of the golden wheel. If there is no space ninjutsu, he can definitely block it with his strength, but he will never take it lightly, and there is no scar on his body. Hanxing swept away the moon that had been cut in half, and whispered, "The power is very strong, it's up to me now." Humph. Courting death? Otsutsuki snorted coldly. Reach out and the truth-seeking ball in front of you gathers again and spins. A storm of destruction to ultimate comes from within. The silver wheel is reborn. As soon as he finished speaking, Otsutsuki's sky-blue pupils throbbed. The storm with the power to destroy the world suddenly disappeared. Not only that, even the 6 paths chakra mode of Otsutsuki Shiran himself disappeared suddenly and turned into a normal appearance. Not good. Could it be because I just burst out with all my strength, and the fetal movement has recovered? Otsutsuki's face was ashen. In the owner Tensigen chakra mode, he and the boy on the opposite side were still fighting with each other. Now that the fetal movement in Tensigen has recovered, he cannot use any of Tensigen's skills, which is equivalent to an ordinary person. Advertisement. How could he be the opponent of this young man in front of him? Damn it. Damn it. Otsutsuki's face was full of unwillingness. Hanxing swept away not far away, with a trace of resentment in his eyes, and then ran towards the depths of the moon. Looking at Otsutsuki Shiran who fled towards the moon, Hanxing narrowed his eyes. Could it be? The fetal movement has resumed? It should be so, otherwise, Otsutsuki Shiran would not have let me go so easily. But, that's fine. I'll accept your Tensigen. Save you the trouble of finding the Hinata clan in the future. With a soft whisper, the space around Hanxing rippled, and the next moment, the figure suddenly disappeared in place. Otsutsuki Shiran ran into the palace with an ashen face. As long as he got to the innermost part, he would be safe. There are organs that the Otsutsuki clan had arranged for thousands of years. As long as you turn it on, your own security is absolutely fine. Damn it, guy. Otsutsuki cursed. As long as I pass the fetal movement period safely and successfully integrate Tensigen, I will never let you go, even if you run into the ninja world. Otsutsuki thought to himself in his heart, and at the same time swept his back. After making sure that he was not chasing after him, his vigilance inexplicably relaxed a little. Looking at the palace that was getting closer, Otsutsuki saw a smile in his eyes. It's going to be safe soon. Wow. A wave of space ripples appeared, and a figure slowly walked out of it, looking at Otsutsuki Shiran who was not far away with a dull expression. Come on. There must be something wrong with you, or you won't even run away without saying hello. Advertisement. With a flick of his arm, not far away, a gravel quickly flew towards Hanxing's hand. And when Otsutsuki Shiran heard Hanxing's words, his face changed suddenly. He turned his head and ran towards the other discoveries. Sweeping away the Otsutsuki Shiran behind him, he said with a flat face, "Thank you for your Tensigen." At the same time, the pupil technique, attraction and repulsion that belong to Tensigen are also mastered by Hanxing, but there is no information about the ultimate moves that belong to Tensigen alone, the Golden Reincarnation Blast and the Silver Reincarnation Blast. Or was the seal of the Sage of 6 Paths Brothers too far beyond his senses? From ordinary black to dazzling blue, his harvest here has exceeded his imagination, and staying here has no effect. Suddenly, a black shadow appeared in front of his eyes. Before he could see who it was, 2 fingers stretched out to his eyes with a burst of sound. Dig it. With a bit of luck, Otsutsuki frantically ran in the other direction, while running, while praying, "I hope my Tensagen's fetal movement period ends soon." Otsutsuki Kagaya was sealed on the moon, that is, here, but when Hanxing used electromagnetic induction, there was no other life fluctuations here except for Otsutsuki to give up a living person. Shaking his head, Hanxing threw out the distracting thoughts in his mind. They had already been created anyway, so why did he think so much? Returning to the original location, Hanxing crossed his knees, slowly absorbing the pupil power from the Tensagen in his hand. After secretly making up his mind, Hanxing's perception began to spread like a tide. After he finished speaking, he walked away without caring about the life and death of Otsutsuki Shuren. For Hanxing, the reason why Otsutsuki reached 6 paths with his own strength was a great contribution to the pair of Tensagen. Now that the Tensagen is gone, even if he has reinstalled a pair of eyes, it has little effect on Hanxing. Damn it! Otsutsuki clenched his teeth, clenching his fists fiercely. Ah! Otsutsuki let out a miserable cry, his eyes closed, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his eyes. Advertisement: this is exactly the kind of gravity that Tensagen and Rinnegan can use. Snapped. While his mind was spinning, Hanxing's figure moved. Just as he was about to leave, he frowned, and an idea quietly emerged. The gravel fell into Hanxing's hands unharmed. Like the ocean of Wangyang, it was absorbed by the eyes of the spirit body in his mind, and his eyes changed instantly. Hanxing looked at the sky-blue eyes in his hands. He could feel the extremely strong pupil power from inside. Sweeping the messy black-brown ground around him, Hanxing murmured, "It's time to go back." After a day and a night, Hanxing opened his eyes, looked at the Tensagen that had turned into a pool of liquid, and then threw it out of the palm of his hand. In his mind, looking at the bright eyeballs in the eyes of the spirit body, Hanxing murmured, "What the hell did I cultivate? Try again, and get out of here if it doesn't." At this time, he was just an ordinary person with slightly stronger strength, and he was no match for the person in front of him. He even knew that he could not escape the hand of that young man, but what if? Let him use Tensagen's ability, even if it's a little bit, he won't be so embarrassed. Could it be? The legend is false? Hanxing frowned and whispered softly. This matter has to start with the Tensagen he obtained. After getting it, Hanxing did not directly absorb and strengthen his spiritual body. Instead, he absorbed all Tensagen's spiritual energy into the Taoist spiritual body's eyes. The next moment, Hanxing's figure suddenly disappeared in place. "I accept your Tensagen," whispered softly. How big and how much Tensagen's pupil power is. 49% Chapter 256 Previous chapter Next chapter advertisement. He checked little by little, not letting go of every place, until after carefully searching the moon, his eyebrows were furrowed together. Because he didn't gain anything, he didn't find anything suspicious. Isn't it? Otsutsuki Kagaya is not sealed here? Hanxing shook his head. It should be his strength, or his perception is not good. Think about it too. The two brothers of Sage of 6 Paths joined forces to seal their mother. In order to prevent her from coming out, there must be a lot of seals here, or post measures. I'm afraid, even the only Otsutsuki tribesmen on the moon today, Otsutsuki Shuren, don't know where Kaguya's seal is. Shaking his head, Hanxing threw out the distracting thoughts in his mind. If you can't find it, you can't find it. What if you found it? With his current strength, it would be a little hard to beat Otsutsuki Slayer. What if he really found the seal of Otsutsuki Kagaya? Let her out. Don't think about it, wash and sleep. Wow. Through the original method, Hanxing walked out of the water beach, looked at the familiar stalactite cave, and walked outside without a trace of nostalgia. The golden crow hangs high and sprinkles thousands of silk sashes, illuminating the entire ninja world. Is it already noon? Hanxing murmured softly, looking at the dazzling sun above. Following the direction of Konoha, the figure disappeared in a flash. Now Konoha. Advertisement 6 Paths Pain, wearing a red cloud cape, appeared in the forest not far from Konoha. Do you really want to go? It's too late to regret it now. If Senju Hanxing knew we attacked Konoha, he would definitely take revenge on us, Conan said worriedly. There is no way out, Tiandao Pain said. This is Nagato's newly found corpse, not Yahiko, but a thin young man. The same is true for other pain, all replaced with new ones. Besides, Chiba Hanxing is not in Konoha. Who is my opponent in Konoha? When he said this, Tiandao Pain was very confident, and his Chuanji spirit did not change at all. Alas! I'll follow you with a paper doppelganger. I hope you take care of your body. Conan sighed, knowing that she couldn't change Nagato's decision and could only accompany him. As he said that, cracks began to appear on his body, turning into pieces of paper and floating towards the sky. I will not fail. 9 tails have been captured. That plan can be implemented initially, Tiandao Nagato said flatly. Beast Dao squatted forward slightly, Shira Dao hugged his body and threw it towards the sky. Like a galloping arrow, it instantly disappeared from the sight of Pain. Pat. On the roof of Konoha, the animal landed safely. Chakra surged on his body, his hands quickly formed marks, and he snorted, summoning technique. The other 5 Pains instantly appeared beside him. Scattered. Tiandao Pain said in a cold voice, and the surrounding Pain ran towards the 4 directions in an instant, dissipating in place. Pain's attack on Konoha officially begins. Just as he informs Tsunade, the 6 Paths Pen invasion has begun. Advertisement. Good. Fortunately, on the first day of Hanxing's departure, Tsunade called all the Jonin in the village and told them about the various abilities of Pen's 6 paths. Don't panic if they encounter it. A huge rhino, bison, centipede and other huge summoning beasts with a pair of good Rinnegan are frantically destroying Konoha. Understood. Kakashi Senpai. It didn't take long for the various Pains who came to attack Konoha to be the only puppet of Tiandao Pain. Different from the original work, the original pen attacked Konoha, and the reason why it was successful, apart from Konoha's ignorance of Pain's ability, was that he was unprepared. For a time, the whole Konoha roared continuously, crying and running away, and fell into chaos. At the same time, various Jonins such as Kakashi, Asuma, etc. have found the various Pens who are in trouble. If it weren't for the detailed information of Tsunade-sama, this battle plan would not have been successful. Otherwise, Konoha didn't know how many civilians and ninjas would be lost. In the dark and silent space, Nagato recalled the 5 dead Pains in his mind. With a hint of surprise in his pupils, he didn't expect his 6 Paths Pain to be defeated within a short while after entering. This time is different. With Hanxing's reminder and detailed information, Konoha is fully prepared under the leadership of Tsunade, waiting for Pain to enter the trap. With detailed information, and in Konoha, the number of people is also dominant, and the outcome is self-evident. In a mess of broken walls, Kakashi squatted down and pulled out all the black sticks on a Pain. Behind him were several strong Anbu. Okay. One person will send this corpse to the ceiling class, and the others will support it. Advertisement in Hokage's office. Tsunade looked at the chaos of Konoha outside, his silver teeth clenched. Hanxing really got it right. Pain really attacked Konoha while he wasn't there. So, this puppet is useless. Jiraiya has passed, but, just in case, let Kakashi and the others go to support Pain's body. K is the owner of all the abilities of the 6 paths, and his strength should not be underestimated, Tsunade said solemnly. Konoha is known as the largest village in the ninja world. Although Yuan Fei Hiruzen has lost a lot of talents during the reign of Hiruzen, he has also cultivated a lot of merits and demerits. Who would think that someone would attack his own village? And they also pulled out the black sticks on their bodies, and even Nagato felt that Konoha had a premonition that he was going to attack, and he had already taken full precautions. You mean where his body is? Tsunade frowned. Understood. A ninja hurried away, clearly aware of the seriousness of the matter. Understood. Hokage-sama. After a few people finished speaking, they flew into the distance in an instant. After some trials, I roughly knew which Pain I was facing. Not long after Kakashi and others solved a Pain, Jonin, who was in various battles such as Asuma, Yuhika, etc., successfully killed a Pain, and the black stick that uploaded his body to the signal was pulled out, and then sent to the SEAL class. In the Hokage office, hearing the good news from Anbu, Lu Ju was naturally overjoyed in his heart, all thanks to Tsunade-sama. Even Lu Ju has made several plans for this, and it is also because of this that Pain and the others will be captured by the Konoha crowd in such a short period of time. The rest of Pen also acted, looking for Naruto's whereabouts. Master Tsunade. Isn't it time to take the last step? Shikahisa pondered. At the same time, the formation class, when Pain and the others broke into Konoha, a person from the formation class changed his face and said loudly, "Quick! Hurry up and tell 5th Hokage. Someone broke into Konoha. Coordinates is XX, XX. 49% Chapter 257 Previous chapter Next chapter advertisement. Needless to say, these must be the means left by Chiba Hanxing. Nagato. You already know what happened to Konoha. Conan flew in with a hint of eagerness on his face. Got it. We seem to be caught in Konoha's trap. They seem to have guessed that we are coming, Nagato said calmly. Then let's go. When I came back, I saw a ninja with Konoha looking for something. It was Jiraiya-sensei at the head. Damn it, Nagato snarled. I really underestimate Chiba Hanxing. At this moment, a picture appeared in his mind. It was Tiandao Pain's memory. Kushina, Tsunade and Ino in Nine Tails mode, and some other scenes where Jonin besieged Tiandao and were killed at the end. What's the matter? I noticed the change in Nagato's expression, Conan asked aloud. Tien Dao also lost in the end. 5th Hokage made his own move, and there is a woman who has mastered the Nine Tails mode, Nagato said in a low voice. Nine Tails mode? Woman? Conan frowned slightly. Isn't Nine Tails that kid named Vortex Naruto? Why is there another woman? No hurry. Let's go first. Konoha's people will search here soon. Nagato sensed the surrounding movement and spoke coldly. It is good. Conan nodded, waved his hand, and the big tree standing on the ground suddenly turned into pieces of paper, flying in the wind, and the dark space instantly became brighter, revealing Nagato's scrawny body. Advertisement. Nagato squinted, accustomed to the darkness, and somewhat unfamiliar with the bright light in front of him. Conan's body was filled with paper and turned into a silk belt, wrapping Nagato firmly. With a wave of his hand and a movement of his figure, the two suddenly flew towards the sky. By the time Jiraiya and the others felt it, only the idiosyncratic seats made by Nagato were left, and nothing else. Oh, did you run away? Jiraiya looked at the seat in front of her and said softly. In my heart, I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, he really didn't want to fight with his two disciples, and now that he ran away, he didn't need to be embarrassed. In the blue sky, Conan turned into a pair of angel wings behind him, and Nagato was wrapped around him, and the two quickly swept towards Rain Shinobi Village. This time they attacked Konoha. The two of them lost very thoroughly. I didn't expect Konoha to be ready. The Six Paths puppet, which was just ready, was also defeated by it. It has to be replenished after going back. After being hit by 2 consecutive defeats, Nagato himself fell into deep suspicion. Is his strength really weak? Understood. Conan nodded. She knew her strength, and staying here would really only be a drag on Nagato. Nagato was as thin as a bone, with black sticks stuck behind his back, standing opposite Hanxing out of thin air. I never thought I could see you at this height. As he spoke, Hanxing moved, took a step, and walked towards Nagato in front of him step by step. Hanxing doesn't care if Conan goes or stays. What he wants is Nagato, or Rinnegan in Nagato's eyes. Advertisement. Hearing Hanxing's words, Nagato's thin face became even more gloomy. The clouds in midair were directly smashed into the distance by the sudden repulsion, and in an instant, the sky with white clouds suddenly appeared like a gust of wind, blowing the surrounding white clouds into the distance. As soon as I came back, I saw Jiraiya leading people to search for all kinds of tall trees, and at the same time, I also felt the figure of Conan and Nagato leaving. The repulsive force around him seemed to be non-existent to him. Suddenly, Conan's body froze as he walked forward, his bright eyes filled with unprecedented solemnity. Conan said in a low voice, Nagato, be careful. The violent repulsion is like waves in the sea, endless. Ever since Hanxing appeared here, there has been a frantic warning in his mind, let him run, run. If you stay, you will only die. This strength is not something you can match. Hoo-hoo. Nagato, as the main body, has all the abilities of other Six Paths puppets,
so it's nothing to float in the air. The only bad thing is his own body. The huge repulsion turned into a turbulent wave, sweeping the front. Too weak. Hanxing frowned and whispered softly, feeling the repulsion all over his body. Compared with Otsutsuki Sharon, this repulsive force and attraction force are one heaven and one earth, and there is no comparison. You expected us to attack Konoha while you weren't there? Nagato's thin body looked gloomy. Then with a bitter smile, Conan, let me out, you're not his match. Even if Uchiha Obito is here now, Hanxing can make him go back and forth. After he left the hole in the moon, he ran directly towards Konoha. He didn't know how fast Hanxing was now, but he only knew that he appeared in the Fire Country area not long after he ran. Advertisement, Shinra Tianjung. Suddenly Nagato shot. Conan was already flying into the distance the moment Nagato started, and at this time, the figure had disappeared from Hanxing's sight. With a slight frown, Conan waved his hand, and the paper wrapped around Nagato suddenly loosened. Ever since he injected Tensagen's pupil power into the eyes of the spirit body and created a monster, Hanxing wanted to absorb Rinnegan's pupil power into the spirit body's eyes. What would happen? While thinking about it, Hanxing had already walked up to Nagato. But Conan didn't know it. He let Conan go. He just didn't want Conan to be buried with him.
What happened? Conan. Wrapped in all the papers, Nagato couldn't see what was going on outside, but his senses worked, and he felt a figure standing not far in front of them.
As long as I'm in Konoha for one day, you won't dare to move unless I leave Konoha. And you will definitely seize this opportunity to invade Konoha and capture Nine Tails Jinchuriki, Hanxing said with a flat expression. And Hanxing in the center, his face was flat, and he didn't seem to care about the repulsion around him at all. He stood in the void, like a reef on the bottom of the sea, standing still. Last time, because of the existence of Uchiha Obito, Nagato and Conan escaped a disaster. This time, his 8-gate fully opened, his whole body strength has made a qualitative leap. This chakra wave. Nagato's pupils shrank. It's him, Chiba Hanxing. It seems that you came from Konoha just now, right? What, failed to attack Konoha? A faint smile appeared on the corner of Hanxing's mouth. Don't guess. If I don't leave Konoha, you can't capture Nine Tails. Without Nine Tails, how do you realize that plan? Conan. When I fight him later, run away. I don't want you to stay here, you'll just get in the way, Nagato said coldly to Conan. Nagato's complexion changed, and his withered body quickly took a few steps back and opened a distance with Hanxing. 50% Chapter 258 Previous Chapter Next Chapter Advertisement. How much of Rinnegan's ability can you use at this time? Hanxing looked at the panting Nagato and said. That's out of your control, Nagato panted, sweating profusely. You want to fight for Conan's time to leave? Hanxing shook his head and smiled. I am not interested in Conan's life and death, what really interests me is your eyes. Rinnegan? You want a Rinnegan transplant? Nagato's purple pupils had a hint of shock. No. Hanxing shook his head slightly, and the figure suddenly disappeared in the next moment, appearing in front of Nagato. Rinnegan is not something you can have. Two slender fingers instantly appeared in front of Nagato and gradually enlarged. There was a trace of fear in Nagato's eyes. Chakra on his body suddenly surged. His hands pointed at Hanxing, and he shouted, Super, Shinra Tianjung. Hum. A repulsive force that is terrifying to ultimate, spreads around like an overwhelming sea. At a speed visible to the naked eye, the clouds around Nagato began to drift rapidly towards the distance, forming a large vacuum area, revealing the blue sky above. The void brought a twisted color, and the violent repulsion turned into a rolling wave, directly submerging the Hanxing in front of him, making the sky above it a little dim. Hum. Feeling the repulsive force around him that was several times stronger, Hanxing still had a calm expression on his face. He stood upright like a tall tree, and the boundless repulsion around him seemed to not exist. Like a lonely boat in the sea, going upstream. This repulsive force is enough to compare with the initial gravitational force exerted by Otsutsuki Sharon. But it's still far worse. The flat voice made Nagato's skinny face change drastically. Horrified in his heart, he did not expect that the trick he was proud of would have no effect on Chiba Hanxing. This is his strongest trick besides planetary devastation. He has never seen Chiba Hanxing so powerful in a fight some time ago. Advertisement, damn it. It's only been a few days since I haven't seen him, and this man's strength has improved again. It's not just a little bit of improvement. While he was thinking about it, Hanxing's index finger that stopped was magnified in Nagato's eyes again. Directly ignoring the terrifying repulsion around him, he appeared unhindered in front of Nagato's eyes. Puff. Dig hard, and 2 lavender eyeballs appear in Hanxing's hands. Is this a fairy eye? It is indeed an eye on the same level as Tensigan. Hanxing looked carefully, he could feel the powerful pupil power from it. I don't know what will happen after the absorption, Hanxing said with a hint of excitement while playing with his eyes. Without the existence of Rinnegan, Nagato's strength is greatly reduced. Like a rootless duckweed, the whole person can no longer float in the air and fall downward. Hanxing didn't care about the fallen Nagato, although he felt a little sympathetic to his experience, but the two were enemies, and he didn't kill him with his own hands. He retracted his gaze, his eyes flashed, his palm stretched forward, and the space in front of him suddenly swayed with ripples, and he reached in without hindrance. When I came out again, there were 2 more glass bottles in my hand, which were filled with nutrient solution. This is a different space made by Hanxing using space attributes, used to store things, which is somewhat similar to Obito's Kamui space. Put 2 Rinnegans into the bottle, and finally put them into the space made by yourself, and Hanxing's action will stop. Whoosh! At this moment, Conan's back was 2 wings made of paper, holding Nagato and swept into the distance. Hanxing looked at the back of the 2 leaving in the distance, frowned, and after a while, sighed, forget it. For Jiraiya's sake, I'll let you 2 go. There are all kinds of signs that the person coming is an enemy or a friend, and they cannot be treated carelessly. Advertisement: some mending houses, some cleaning up the streets. A scene in full swing. That's it. Just as Lu Ju was about to speak, Hanxing immediately stopped. Hokage office. Casting their eyes upwards, so did others, and some even more secretly guarded themselves. Below. Moreover, he let the 2 go away alive, and it is estimated that Uchiha Obito will also try to get rid of the 2, after all, Madara's Rinnegan has been in his hands. Konoha has just been attacked by the leader of the Akatsuki organization, and according to the information of Lord Jiraiya, there is also a person who knows space ninjutsu in the Akatsuki organization. Some ninjas and civilians start dealing with the post-war. Hanxing looked at this scene in surprise, and asked in confusion, what's the situation with you? After speaking, Hanxing disappeared in place with a flicker without waiting for everyone present to speak. Even though they knew about Pain's various abilities and the whole village was on guard, they were still destroyed by Pain in half of Konoha. When did you learn space ninjutsu? Tsunade asked suspiciously. Hanxing disappeared, but his words were like a drop of oil falling into the fire, causing the originally calm crowd to boil. Shikaku took the bill and reported the loss of Konoha that had just been counted. At this moment, the space above Lu Ju swayed with ripples, and Lu Ju, who was reporting, suddenly stopped his voice. That's what made them terrified. Is the leader of the Shao organization strong? Advertisement just now, her whole body was also tense, and the chakra in her body was condensed quietly, and she was ready to make a move. Don't tell me. Everything has nothing to do with me. I'm here just to tell you that the leader of the Shao organization has nothing to worry about. Don't worry about his revenge. All of them were the leaders of the clan, and their minds were not slow, so they could naturally hear the meaning of Hanxing's words. But because of this, the entire Konoha was destroyed by half due to the aftermath of the battle. Shaking his head and throwing away the cluttered thoughts in his mind, Hanxing disappeared in place. Although because of Hanxing, Konoha managed to keep all of Pen's 6 paths. That is, Hanxing has already killed the leader of the Akatsuki organization, and it is impossible to pose a threat to Konoha. Around him, the patriarchs of various tribes stood there calmly, listening carefully. What do you think? Tsunade said angrily. A slender arm stretched out from the space, and then, a figure slowly walked out of it. At the moment when they saw the figure, these people who were facing the enemy let go of their tight bodies one after another. Today's Nagato is basically a scum without Rinnegan, and there is no threat to him at all. For them, strong, not ordinary strong. It didn't take long for Hanxing to appear above Konoha. Just now, Hanxing paused and said, "Are you two discussing something?" This loss, compared to the original work, is small and cannot be more small. Chapter 259 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. What if you don't know? The consequences are absolutely unimaginable. This strength is probably much stronger than that of Hokage-sama. Even after Pain escaped, they were very worried. I'm worried that Pain will take revenge on them Konoha in the future. Now, Hanxing appeared in front of them with a mysterious space ninjutsu, telling them that Pain had been killed. How could they not be shocked? And the heart hanging in his body was relieved. As expected of Hanxing, it seems that after he went out, his strength has improved again. It was Lu Ju who first came to his senses. He knew Hanxing's identity, and he was only surprised for a while before speaking out. This surprise is because, at that time, when Pain attacked Konoha, Hanxing was not in the village, so he could kill Pain, which was enough for Hanxing's terror. I sighed in my heart, worthy of being the god of ninja world. Hearing Lu Ju's words, the others also came back to their senses and praised them. As for the words, what are the words to say? For a time, the Konoha conference room became extremely lively and in full swing. Hanxing went back to his own home, and no one was at home except Kushina. Only Kushina himself was in the corridor, bare feet of white jade, drinking tea leisurely. Seeing Hanxing appear, with joy in my heart, "You are back?" There was an undisguised excitement in his voice. What about Hinata and the others? Hanxing stepped forward, picked up the teacup in the corridor and drank it. Everyone is helping. Although Konoha has your information, he has destroyed a lot of them. The money for rebuilding Konoha alone is probably enough for Tsunade-san to have a headache. Indeed. Hanxing nodded. Advertisement on the way back, he saw that many familiar buildings had been turned into ruins. I'm going to practice. The time is uncertain. Do you want to practice again? Kushina is a little surprised and puzzled. Hanxing's strength is absolutely invincible in the ninja world. Why is he so obsessed with cultivation? But 8 cows can't pull back what Hanxing decides. Where are you going? Konoha? No, it's a different space. Saying that, the surrounding space rippled and twisted, pulling the stunned Kushina and the two to disappear in place. In the void, desolate and cold and different space, Hanxing and Kushina are standing on a large 3-dimensional pillar. This is your alternate dimension. When did you learn space ninjutsu? Kushina's eyes widened, shocked. Not long ago. I'll be practicing here in the future. Just let Tsunade use Katsuyu to notify me of anything. Understood. Kushina was a little gloomy, thinking that Hanxing had just returned and would stay for a few more days, but he did not expect to retreat again, and he would be left alone at home. Okay. My retreat this time is very short. Hanxing stroked Kushina's hair and comforted softly. Carefully looked at Kushina's smooth and tender skin. Her eyes were a bit hot, and then, with Kushina and the two of them racing in Chu Mingshan for 3 small cars, it was over. After Hanxing left, Kushina had already fallen asleep. He left a shadow clone to prevent anyone from disturbing Kushina, and his own body entered the different space again. In a dark, barren, and lifeless alien space, Hanxing is sitting on a huge 3-dimensional column, holding 2 glass bottles in his hands, 2 purple eyeballs swaying back and forth. Open the glass bottle. Hanxing holds one in each hand. Feeling the pupil power coming from above, with a thought, I began to absorb the spiritual energy in Rinnegan. Advertisement. The black spiritual energy, like black stars, was densely inhaled by Hanxing's spiritual body after being tempered by thunder. To be precise, it is absorbed by the eyes of the spirit body. The blue eyes are like a bottomless pit, swallowing the pupil power from the Rinnegan, and the spiritual energy is getting more and more swallowed. The blue eyes began to change a little, and a purple ellipse gradually appeared in the blue pupil, and then it became more and more solid. Finally, a pair of blue eyes are formed, and the pupils have purple arcs.
Hanxing was neither happy nor sad. His face was flat, looking at the large pothole in front of him, and said, "The system is restored."
Hanxing splits out a large piece of shadow clone. have to continue to master the yin-yang escape technique in his mind, have to get familiar with his own body, and develop the ability to make thunder. Boom! As soon as it was injected, a sense of danger quietly emerged from the yin and yang escape. Hanxing's face changed, and he disappeared in place. In the practice space, Hanxing himself was sitting in the wet bone forest and started synthesizing the truth-seeking ball according to the principle of the truth-seeking ball. After a while, the aftermath disappeared. Hanxing came out of the space, looked at the pothole about 100 meters in front of him and was speechless. This is so powerful. At the same time, as he absorbed Rinnegan, 2 ninjutsu techniques emerged in his mind. System recovery. System recovery. The only difference is that one is from Tensigen and one is from Rinnegan. It's the same as the 2 eye techniques that absorbed Tensigen. All you have to do now is practice. Boom. Advertisement. After a while, the monstrous roar came again. According to the manufacturing principle of truth-seeking ball, Hanxing began to try to make it. After that, start to make the truth-seeking ball skillfully again. A huge roar resounded throughout the wet bone forest, and a strong fire shot up into the sky. The violent energy, like an invisible energy shield, gradually collapsed and collapsed under the pressure. He thought he could get some good abilities, such as absorbing energy, resurrecting the dead and so on. I am a little fortunate in my heart that I am in the cultivation space, otherwise the whole Konoha will know about this power when I go outside. Time is like flowing water, and a week passes quietly in the blink of an eye. Attraction and repulsion. After the memories of shadow clone training, Hanxing already has some eyebrows. Hold your hands empty, separate them, first inject the energy of yin and yang, and then inject the chakra of the 5 elements. Boom! A whole forest of wet bones was shaken by this huge energy explosion. He has already found the reason. Just because of the uneven distribution of various attributes, this time, he will check carefully bit by bit. He threw out the mercury-like liquid in his palm, and Hanxing started his busy practice. The soil splashed and rose from the ground, turning into a sea of hurricane mud along with the surrounding hurricanes and sweeping wildly around. A burst of dazzling brilliance was rendered, and the huge pothole below began to recover at a speed visible to the naked eye, and in the blink of an eye, it was restored to its original state. Hanxing is not surprised, continued to sit here and make truth-seeking ball. Feeling the changes in the spiritual body in his mind, the corners of Hanxing's mouth twitched. What should these eyes be called? If I knew earlier, it would be better to ascend to the spiritual body. System. Restore here. Chapter 260 Previous chapter Next chapter. Advertisement. After many times of manufacture and exploration, he has successfully integrated all the 4 attributes of wind, thunder, water and fire based on yin and yang, and the only difference is the fusion of earth attributes. As long as the fusion is successful, the fusion of truth-seeking ball can be said to be a successful conclusion. Calm down. Hanxing again produced by truth-seeking ball. Yin and yang attributes, wind, thunder, water and fire are quickly merged into the 4 attributes, and finally the earth attributes are also carefully merged into it. At the moment when the earth attribute chakra merged in, the ball in Hanxing's hand suddenly burst into a dazzling light, like a sharp sword, soaring into the sky. In the dark forest of wet bones, illuminated by this strong light, it instantly became bright. After a while, the light subsided, and a black ball appeared in Hanxing's sight. This is the truth-seeking ball. Hanxing looked at the truth-seeking ball in front of him and was overjoyed. He could feel that the truth-seeking ball had the same mind as him, and what he wanted to do was just a thought and action, just like Thunder Fruit Bloodline. Depressing the joy in his heart, Hanxing started making the second truth-seeking ball. With the first success, the next production is undoubtedly much simpler. 1, 2, 3 days later, Hanxing looked at the 9 truth-seeking balls spinning in front of him, and he was very satisfied. At the moment when the 9 truth-seeking balls were completed, Hanxing's body began to change involuntarily. A gray-white robe made of energy appeared out of thin air, with 9 hooks on the neck, and a hook pattern on the back. Advertisement. The 9 truth-seeking balls beside him involuntarily appeared behind him and revolved around him. Hanxing's 6 paths chakra mode is now available. Does this resonate? Looking at the changes in his body, Hanxing murmured softly. It seems that the six-paths scepter is missing, Hanxing whispered while touching his chin. With 9 successful experiences, Hanxing made it very fast this time. Also very simple, the only difference is that he changed the weapon of the six-paths scepter to a gun shape. I'm used to guns, but I'm not used to using a scepter. So far, all the six-paths objects on Hanxing are complete. Then, is the feeling of yin and yang escape. Unlock the six-paths mode on your body, and Hanxing returns to its original form. In my mind, I realized the change of 6 paths and the cultivation of yin-yang escape. Unconsciously, a month has been quietly spent here. 1 month here, plus 10 months in the practice space, a total of 11 months. 10 months and nearly a year have made Hanxing's understanding of the realm of 6 paths deeper and deeper, and the yin and yang practice has skyrocketed like a rocket. After all, those shadow clone are not vegetarians.
In the gray, lifeless dark space, Hanxing floated in midair, and suddenly, his tightly closed brows wrinkled, and then he opened his eyes.
A call in his mind is calling for help. Only his summoning beast, a Katsuyu, and a 3 tails can have a call to his mind.
But how could Hanxing let the 2 leave so easily? Advertisement. Kisame. Stop him. I'll take the scroll and leave first. Obito directly pulled Kisame as a dead ghost and ran away by himself.
Good luck this time. No one in Konoha came to help, Kisame said with a shark-toothed smile, which was a little scary. Hanxing took a step, and the next moment, the figure suddenly disappeared in place. In other places, Obito might join Kisame and fight Senju-Han to see how powerful the ninja god is. Want to go? Did you ask me? Hanxing sneered at the corners of his mouth. This Chiba Hanxing is Senju-Han, who disappeared for more than 10 years, and the one who defeated Madara with his own hands. The white chakra gathers in the eyes, and 3-dimensional worlds with space nodes appear in the eyes. He doesn't know how strong Uchiha Madara is, but listening to White Zetsu talk about Madara's story, he must be stronger than him. Got it. Afe. You go first. Kisame gave Obito a surprised look and said. At this time, in the area where the 3 tails were located, there was a constant roar, and there were bursts of violent storms, and the huge aftermath could not be resisted even by an ordinary Jonin. The space nodes in front of him are connected, and Hanxing's figure shuttles back and forth in space. Each time he travels, it is at least a kilometer away. In the blink of an eye, he is about to reach the area where 3 tails is located. When it reappeared, it was already outside the Konoha village. Indeed. Let's go when things are done, after all, this is Konoha. With such a big commotion just now, it's hard to guarantee that Konoha won't send someone over. Obito put away the scroll and said solemnly. 2 people Hanxing know, one is Obito and the other is Kisame. At this moment, Obito hid in his own space with a gloomy expression on his face. He didn't expect to meet Senju-Han at this time. Feeling the different space in which Obito is located, the right hand is empty, and the black-tailed beast bomb is instantly condensed in his hand, and it is a throw to it. Advertisement. I never thought that these 2 would act together. Sissy Nien. Hanxing took a step forward and appeared in front of Obito and Kisame in an instant. He smiled and said, You 2, after taking my summoning beast, you just want to leave? Do you have to leave something behind? But here is Konoha, people's territory, really want to fight, wait for Konoha reinforcements to come, the consequences can be imagined. Hanxing frowned slightly, the electromagnetic induction burst out instantly, and 2 familiar human body fluctuations appeared in Hanxing's perception. It's nothing to Kisame, but Obito knows it. Black-White Zetsu has already informed him of Hanxing's true identity. Obito nodded, Sharingan turned frantically, and a twisted space gradually wrapped it and brought it into a different space. Chiba Hanxing. Obito's pupils contracted. At this time, yes, it is estimated that the Shao group has discovered the location of 3 tails. Like a water pattern, the space ripples. The dark purple-tailed beast bomb turns into a streamer directly into the space and disappears. 3 tails is his summoning beast, and now the 2 of them have taken 3 tails away with integrity, seemingly ignoring his feelings. Today's Konoha is not the stupid old man ruled by 3rd Hokage Yuan Fei Hiruzen, but 5th Hokage Senju Tsunade. Also, didn't Kisame act with Itachi? Why did he get mixed up with Obito again? Just as Hanxing was thinking, the battle seemed to come to an end. Obito used the Sharingan controller 3 Tails, and Kisame sealed it with the sealing technique. He had heard the sound of Katsuyu calling. It wasn't this kind of sound. The only possibility was 3 Tails. No matter what you say, you can't let the two leave easily. Okay. The two of them were about to leave as soon as they spoke. Senju Han was able to defeat Uchiha Madara more than 10 years ago. What strength will it be after 10 years? It will definitely be much stronger than 10 years ago. 50% Chapter 261 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. With Tsunade's appointment, the dead tree Konoha changed its second spring, and it was full of vitality. Especially Jiraiya has stayed in Konoha since the battle at Rain Shinobi Village in Nagato, and Kushina, the complete master of the 9 Tails mode, the new generation.
Whoosh. Just then, Obito felt a burst of ultimate danger coming from behind.
This is Tailed Beast Bomb. Obito's pupils contracted violently. How is it possible that Senju Han has mastered space ninjutsu?
Without time to think about it, Obito instantly activated space ninjutsu and got out of here.
But before he could leave, the tailed beast bomb in front of him exploded. Boom! A huge roar resounded in the empty space, echoing. The terrifying energy fluctuations instantly swallowed Obito's entire body, covering a radius of 100 meters, as if a natural disaster had come. The aftermath turned into a violent hurricane, wreaking havoc in this lifeless space. After a while, the movement gradually decreased and returned to its original appearance. The original 3-dimensional land with different shapes like pillars has now turned directly into a huge pothole. The pothole is bottomless, like staring into an abyss. A spiral space appeared for a while, and Uchiha Obito, wearing a mask, walked out from it, patted his chest, and said with a look of joy, "Fortunately, when I came, I prepared an extra Sharingan, otherwise, I would be planted here today." Advertisement. As he spoke, he stretched out his palm and saw a dim 3-tomo Sharingan in the palm of his hand, which has lost its proper luster at this time. He turned his head and looked at the direction Hanxing was in. He seemed to be able to see Hanxing through this different space. What a terrible person. Listen to Nagato and the others. Rinnegan is in his hands, and he probably won't be able to get it back. With a murmur, Obito cast Kamui and left Konoha quickly. Konoha. Hanxing, who has been paying attention to the fluctuations in this different space, saw a wave of fluctuations in the space where Obito was located, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. It's not dead. It is indeed one of the bosses in the 4 battles of the ninja world. You are Senju Hanxing, the one who awakened the blood of the Senju clan? Kisame looked at Hanxing with solemn eyes, but he didn't forget that there were very few people who could make Itachi feel dangerous a few years ago. Now that a few years have passed, Kisame doesn't know how much Hanxing's strength has improved, but he feels that when facing this teenager, there will be an invisible pressure. This kind of pressure seems to be unintentionally revealed by the young man on the other side, like a mountain, letting him walk with a heavy load. It's never happened before, even if it's their leader's zero burial. "It's me." Kisami's voice interrupted Hanxing's thoughts, and he turned his head and said flatly. "I remember we met a few years ago, and that kick made me remember it all the time." Kisame smiled solemnly, and slowly opened the bandage on Samahata, revealing the dark blue blade covered with barbs. "You want to fight me?" Hanxing frowned. To tell the truth, at his level, cage level is similar to Genin, and it doesn't take much effort to crush to death. Moreover, he didn't have the energy to clean up Kisame, so wasting his time, he might as well go and practice yin-yang escape technique for a while. After all, the 4th war is about to start. Orochi Kabuto is probably going to find Obito too. Itachi is not with Kisame, he is probably dead at Sasuke's hands. The next thing, one after another, does not leave much time for him. It's not that I want to fight you, but I want to see how dangerous the person who makes Mr. Itachi rated extremely dangerous is. Advertisement. You know, Mr. Itachi and I have been teaming up for so many years, except for you. We are the only leader who is called extremely dangerous by him. After passing through an unknown number of trees, it turned into a meteor and disappeared from Hanxing's field of vision, leaving only 2 long trails, showing his sense of existence just now. In the Hokage office, Shikaku reported the information of these days as usual. There are a lot of things that happened this month. The main thing is that Sasuke and his older brother Uchiha Itachi fought, and Sasuke won. Suddenly, lightning flashed, and a figure suddenly appeared here. Lu Ju explained in detail what happened these days. Hanxing frowned, a little impatient. The next moment, the figure suddenly disappeared in place. You go. Just let me know the result. Hanxing shook his head and said, disappearing in place in a flash. If so, the Fourth World War is probably not far away. Back in the different dimension, Hanxing practiced the yin-yang escape technique again. The monstrous force is like a volcanic eruption, and the whole figure of Kisame is like a fired cannonball, crazy backwards. Tsunade and Shikuji looked at each other, wondering what Hanxing was doing here. Could you just ask what happened in the ninja world these days? Just yesterday, the Fourth Hokage, the Land of Thunder, launched the 5 Shadows talks in the Land of Iron. Hokage office. Boom. Boom. Lord Hokage. That's all for today. After a while, he said, have you chosen the guards you need when you go to the Land of Fire? Hokage-sama has decided to leave tomorrow. Advertisement. Has anything major happened these days? Hanxing asked. He wanted to see what happened to Hurricane now? Then Sasuke joined the Akatsuki organization, formed the Eagle Squad, and captured 8 Tails Jinchuriki. The next day, Tsunade, wearing a Hokage hat, followed by Kushina and Ino, was greeted by the surrounding people and set foot on the road to the country of Iron. This kind of person, he killed not 1 or 2. After seeing who was coming, Lu Ju said in surprise, Hanxing, you're out. Why are you here? At the same time, the Akatsuki organization is taken over by the masked people, and the whereabouts of the original leaders Pain and Conan are unknown. Back at his home, he talked to the 2 girls Hinata, and went straight to retreat again. With the start of the 5 Shadows conference, he had a sense of urgency. What? Are you interested in going? Tsunade looked at Hanxing's body and asked. Yeah. I have someone in my heart. Tsunade waved his hand, indicating that Shikaku didn't need to worry. The Kingdom of Iron, at the top right of Konoha's head, borders the Kingdom of Fire, the Kingdom of Fields, and the Kingdom of Taki. It has been a neutral country in the ninja world since ancient times. Kakashi's report has come to an end. So fast? Kisame exclaimed in his heart. Hanxing flicked his fist, and the figure disappeared in a flash. Just as he was about to lay Samahata across his chest, he felt a piercing pain in his abdomen, accompanied by an indifferent voice ringing in his ear. You are so useless, wasting my time. Will the 5 Shadows meet? Hanxing said softly. The leader has those eyes. I ask myself that I am not an opponent, but to you? Kisame smiled grimly. Strong coercion does not mean strong combat power. Chapter 262 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. The climate of the Iron Country is similar to that of the Snow Country. The climate is cold, and it is covered by ice and snow all year round. There are no ninjas in this country, but a group of samurai fighting groups guarding it. It has an independent culture, independent authority and independent combat power. In addition, the country of Iron is well known in the ninja world for its knife-making skills. Many ninjas from various countries have spared no effort to come here just to make a good knife. After Tsunade and others left the village, they kept going, and finally came to the snow-covered land after a week. As soon as he entered, Ino whispered, "It's so cold." Indeed. Kushina nodded in agreement. The 3 of them put on the thick shirts they had already prepared, and headed towards the capital of the Iron Country. Along the way, the 3 girls can see many warriors in armor and with double knives on their waists. Seeing Tsunade and their outfits, as well as the Hokage hat on Tsunade's back, these warriors of the Iron Country, without asking any questions, let them go. Just kidding. Who in this world dares to pretend to be Lord Hokage of the Shadow of a Kingdom? Is this the samurai of the Iron Country? Why is it different from the samurai of other countries, wrapping himself up so tightly? Kushina whispered after the 3 girls left. Maybe it's because of the weather, Tsunade explained aloud. The Iron Country is a small country, and the three of them have extraordinary strength. After running fast for most of the day, they arrived at the capital of the Iron Country. On the city wall made of blue bricks, there are warriors patrolling back and forth, and a big iron character is branded there in the middle. In the distance, 3 large mountains resembling wolf heads are carved to life by them, like the Hokage rock in the Land of Fire. Advertisement. As soon as the 3 girls entered, a warrior from the Kingdom of Iron walked up to them followed by several warriors. Hello, Hokage-sama, I'm Okazuki, I'm Mifune-sama's subordinate. Please come with us, Mifune-sama has been waiting for you at the inn for a long time, Okazuki said respectfully. Okay. Trouble? It's a matter of time. After chatting, Okinsuke took Tsunade to the location of Mifune, where they were staying today, a post house in the Iron Country that was specially used to entertain envoys from various countries. Okazuki, which national movie has arrived now? Tsunade asked on the way. The Country of the Wind is left now, and the Wind Shadow has not arrived. The rest have arrived, Okazuki said truthfully. Tsunade nodded, indicating that he knew. After a while, several people came to the post house in the Iron Country. As soon as I walked in, I saw the leader of the Country of Iron, Mifune, with a smile on his face. Master Hokage. Welcome to the Country of Iron, hard work. No. Tsunade shook his head. Seemingly seeing the tiredness on Tsunade's face, Mifune didn't say much. He said directly, Lord Kazekage is estimated to be able to arrive today, and the meeting of the 5 shadows is scheduled in 3 days. Just in time for you to take a good rest. 3 days later. Got it? Tsunade mused. Please come with me and I will take you to where you rest. After 3 boats and rounds, I took Tsunade to a more luxurious room. Master Hokage. This is your room. The 2 rooms next to the house are the rooms where your 2 guards live, Mifune laughed. Got it? Trouble? Advertisement? No. Then I'll go first. We'll see you in 3 days, Mifune said and turned away. Watching Mifune leave, Ino's tense body relaxed a little, and he exclaimed, finally it's time to rest. Both of you, go to rest. These 2 days are just for nourishing your spirits, Tsunade said, looking at Ino's appearance. Before Ino could speak, the Japanese-style door was suddenly opened, and Terumi Mei in a blue shirt walked in with a hint of surprise in his eyes, and then sarcastically said, It's really you, big-breasted girl. Yeah. It's you, Sister Terumi Mei. Ino ran towards Terumi Mei with a hint of excitement on his face. Yo, Ino. You're here too. With a completely different attitude from Tsunade, he said with a smile. Yeah. Tsunade's sister took me out to see the world, Ino said happily. It was the first time to go out, and to meet an acquaintance in a foreign country, Ino couldn't be more happy. Ao, who was behind Terumi Mei, wanted to stop Ino, but after hearing the conversation between the two, he gave up the idea, and was even scared for a while. From the names of the two, it can be seen that this girl named Ino has a very good relationship with Mizukage-sama, and it is even possible that this Ino is also a woman of Senju-sama. You also came to the babysitter, snorted coldly. Seeing that the two were about to fight again, Ao and Chongjuru hurriedly closed the door, with guards on both sides. You quarrel with you, we help you watch the door. In the evening, I came to Luo with Tamari and Konkuro in a dusty way. Under the arrangement of 3 boats, I successfully lived here. So far, the 5 shadows have successfully gathered the Iron Country. Advertisement in 3 days, in the blink of an eye, Kushina and Ino visited the capital of the Iron Country. Don't look at Kushina's age, but in fact, her mind is similar to Ino's, she is very young. When I became a Jinchuriki, I didn't leave the village. Later, I was willing to wait in the Senju family's house for Hanxing. I didn't know much. Early morning. When the sun rises, under the leadership of Mifune, Tsunade and others ate a casual meal and walked towards a closed conference room. Around the conference room, there are densely packed armored warriors of the Iron Kingdom patrolling. After Tsunade arrived, she found that all the other countries had arrived, so she was alone. Lord Hokage has such a big face. Let so many of us wait for you, Oyegi said with a sullen expression. Not long ago, he was beaten badly by Tsunade because of the name of the land, which made his heart hurt. "Tsuchikage-sama, if you don't want to wait, you can leave, we didn't force you." Before Tsunade spoke, Terumi Mei was the first to speak. "Don't look at the bad relationship between her and Tsunade. They will pinch each other when they meet, but that's also their own family's business. Where can an outsider like Onogi make irresponsible remarks?" Tsunade gave Terumi Mei a good look, and said indifferently, "Mizukage-sama is right. If third Tsuchikage is old, you can leave if you don't want to wait. When did Mizukage and Hokage become a family? Why doesn't this old man know?" Oyemu didn't want to be outdone, sneering again and again. Reikage was silent and watched on the sidelines. Even though this was a meeting he initiated, he might see the three shadows playing tricks, and the relationship is not bad. "Yo. When did Tsuchikage-sama become so smart?" "You guessed it right. In terms of personal feelings, I am indeed a family with Hokage." Terumi Mei sneered, not afraid at all. With Hanxing as the backing, she just took it all over. If something went wrong, call her man. Chapter 263 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. Terumi Mei's words caused the other four shadows, including Tsunade, to look at her in shock. Tsunade looked at Terumi Mei carefully. This little nanny really dared to say, doesn't he even know what to say and what not to say? What about Mizukage? What about his brain? Onogi frowned thoughtfully, thinking about the credibility of Terumi Mei's words. Gaara was directly shocked. As a teenage wind shadow, whether it is knowledge, experience, or strength, it is not as good as the shadows who are doing it, and thinks Terumi Mei is telling the truth.
The same is true of Reikage, the Kingdom of Thunder. As a person who has lived for more than 10 years, although his temper is too grumpy due to his lightning-style forging, he still has the ability to think for himself.
Ao and Changjiro behind Terumi Mei were speechless with shame on their faces, and their Mizukage was good at everything, but they were confused when they encountered something about Hanxing. Kushina is amazed. Ino is adored. Others had different expressions, but following Terumi Mei's words, the entire conference room fell silent. Terumi Mei, who said this, realized the seriousness of the problem, but she did not regret it. At this time, as the host of the three ships, to come out to break the situation. Cough. He coughed and said solemnly, "Everyone is the shadow of a country, and they are very busy people. Let's go straight to the topic. Sir Reikage, as the initiator of this meeting, do you want to say something?" Advertisement. Nothing to say. It's just to hold you four shadows accountable, and by the way, to ask for an explanation for my brother's death, Killer B. He turned his eyes to Tsunade, and said solemnly, "Lord Hokage, what do you think?" "What do you mean? What does this have to do with our country of fire?" Kushina said from behind, no matter where it was. Reikage glanced at her and said lightly, "My brother was killed by your Konoha village Uchiha Sasuke." He knew the identity of Kushina, otherwise, a guard. There is no way for fourth Reikage to answer Kushina. "You all know about Uchiha Sasuke. He left Konoha 4 years ago to go to Orochimaru. He never returned to Konoha. Therefore, I'm sorry about your brother," Tsunade said solemnly. "Then why don't you issue a wanted notice to want him? Do you know that my brother died because of him?" Fourth Reikage said angrily, and knocked on the conference table, and a crack appeared on the round table made of marble. "Then what do you think?" Tsunade snorted coldly. In fact, fourth Reikage initiated the Five Shadows talks, and Lu Ju has already analyzed this matter clearly. One, because of the development of these years, the military power of Cloud Shinobi Village has expanded rapidly and has surpassed that of other countries. And Konoha went through some mistakes during the reign of Pain and Yuan Fei Hiruzen, and the largest country in the ninja world was crumbling. The second is the Uchiha Sasuke incident. Lu Ju is sure that fourth Reikage will definitely use this incident to attack the country of fire. If one is not good, the country of thunder will attack the country of fire, and the four wars will break out because of this. How is it? Of course, hand over Uchiha Sasuke and compensate us for all the losses in the land of thunder. Fourth Reikage didn't think about it at all. Apparently it had been negotiated before coming. Advertisement. At this moment, there was a loud noise outside, and a warrior of the Iron Kingdom hurried in and said loudly, "Not good." Uchiha Sasuke broke in. "What?" Hearing this, Reikage burst out instantly, and whoever he hates the most right now must be Uchiha Sasuke. I just wanted to find him, but I didn't expect to bring it to my door. The right fist hit the marble table fiercely, and the marble table, originally covered with cracks, shattered in an instant. The figure turned into an afterimage and ran towards the outside, behind Shi and Darui without hesitation. The other shadows looked at each other and thought about walking outside. They knew that the 5 shadow talks were about to stop for the time being. At this moment, a spiral-shaped spatial ripple rose around, and 2 figures wearing Akatsuki's coats appeared in everyone's sight. These 2 are none other than Uchiha Obito, known as Uchiha Madara, and Uchiha Sasuke. It's you. The masked man. Kushina gritted his teeth and looked at this man with anger. It was this person who released the 9 tails when Reiko gave birth to Naruto, which led to the outbreak of the 9 Tails Rebellion. Minato and Reiko died in battle, and Naruto became an orphan. Therefore, after Kushina saw Obito, the 9 Tails mode was activated instantly, and the wind-style Rasengan Shuriken was completed in an instant.
Obito looked at the ninjutsu flying towards him, and was a little confused. When he saw Kushina's 9 Tails mode, he immediately understood the cause and effect. Whirlpool Kushina, the woman who almost became a teacher at the beginning. It's a pity, Obito thought to himself.
The Kamui space is activated and disappears in place in an instant. You lunatic! Onogi shouted with a livid face. In an instant, he took his own guard to hide. The same goes for the other 3 shadows. Advertisement. Boom! The spiral shuriken burst out the moment they left. A roar like a cannonball. The slightly dark conference room suddenly became brighter. The surrounding wind attribute chakra turns into thin needles, raging around, making the falling gravel wear as fine as sand and fall to the ground. Kushina looked at Uchiha Obito, who had disappeared, with a pink and pretty face that was arrogant, and said in a hurry, "Little man, is this the only trick you can do? This ninjutsu, and this mode?" Onogi stared at Kushina. He didn't expect Konoha to have 2 9 Tails Jinchuriki. 9 Tails? How is that possible? Gaara exclaimed. Isn't 9 Tails Naruto? How could it be this woman? Could it be Naruto? For a while, Gaara's eyes turned gloomy towards Tsunade. Naruto was the one who saved his life, and he was a friend who recognized each other. The relationship is not good. Sand Shinobi can live in peace with Konoha. Naruto has made a big difference. Strength. What's the matter? Kushina. You know him? Terumi Mei came over and asked with a frown. This guy. The one who started the 9 Tails Rebellion. The one who killed my only clan and 4th Hokage. Kushina gritted her teeth. Mizukage-sama. That person's chakra. I remember it was the one who controlled our 4th Mizukage Yagura. Ching walked to Terumi Mei and said solemnly. Are you sure? Terumi Mei's face suddenly darkened. Sure. Ching nodded fiercely. I saw this chakra with my eyes before 4th Mizukage died. I can't be wrong. Hee. Good. My mother has been looking for him for so many years, and she is hiding in the Shao organization. Terumi Mei's charming face was cold. Chapter 264 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. Excuse me, Hokage-sama. Isn't 9 Tails Jinchuriki Naruto? Why is it replaced? Gaara took Temari and Kankuro, and walked to Tsunade with a gloomy face. Seeing Gaara's expression, Tsunade knew where Gaara was thinking, and explained aloud. 9 Tails Jinchuriki of Konoha was originally Kushina. Later, Senju Han used sealing techniques to divide the chakra of 9 Tails into 2 attributes of yin and yang. Naruto's is yang 9 Tails. Kushina's is yin 9 Tails. Tsunade's words made Gaara's face soften a little, and his nervous mood instantly eased, as long as Naruto is fine. At this moment, an angry roar came from not far away, forcing King Sasuke to shout, I said, you are too underestimated by me. He took a step forward, appeared in front of Tsunade, and said in a cold voice, you are Konoha's 5th Hokage Tsunade. I just want to ask you something. When Kushina saw Obito leave, she couldn't vent her anger. Now that she saw Uchiha Sasuke speak out, when she thought of Sasuke and Obito appearing together, she naturally thought that the two were the same people. Without any hesitation, after Sasuke finished speaking, the golden chakra turned into a huge fist that lifted the sky, carrying 1,000 strength, and slammed into Sasuke, who was not far away. The King of Force Sasuke's expression was indifferent. The Sharingan's eyes were connected frantically, forming a sickle state, and the Mangekyo Sharingan was activated instantly. In an instant, half of the dark blue skeleton covered the entire body of Sasuke. Boom! An extremely dull sound resounded in the ears of everyone. Advertisement: the dark blue skeleton is like an indestructible mountain, fiercely resisting Kushina's 9 tails giant fist. But the powerful force above made Uchiha Sasuke fly backwards, and the huge anti-shock force made Sasuke spit out a mouthful of blood. He wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth, looked up at Kushina. His face was ferocious and frantic. In front of these eyes, all attacks have no effect on me. Saying that, he aimed his left eye at Kushina's location, and said in a cold voice, Amaterasu. Uchiha Sasuke won't show any mercy to anyone who wants to kill him. He's not that bad guy Naruto. The principle he pursues is that anyone who blocks his revenge is an enemy. There is only one word for the enemy: kill. The black flames cut through the space and appeared beside Kushina out of thin air, like maggots attached to bones and rapidly expanding. Kushina's face wrinkled. The palm of the hand becomes a knife, and it is a slash to the 9 tails chakra within the range of Amaterasu. The golden yellow 9 tails chakra fell to the ground like torn silk, with strands of black flames on it. Speaking of which, your mother Makoto and I were very good friends when we were young. Now his son has gone the wrong way. Let me, my best friend, personally send you on the road. Kushina looked at Sasuke, the forced king, with a sullen expression on his face. The tone was cold. Even if the 5 shadows didn't do anything, just being the guards of the 5 shadows was enough to kill Uchiha Sasuke. Onogi, this old guy. 4th Hokage cursed in his heart.
At this time, 3 figures appeared beside Sasuke. It was Sasuke's 3 members, Shonglin, Suzuki and Chongo.
Hokage, be careful. That is the unique pupil technique of the Uchiha clan Mangekyo, Amaterasu, which is known as the fire that never goes out. It doesn't stop until everything is burned. Tsunade explained aloud.
Advertisement. Courtesy of death. Heavy flow. Hokage saw Sasuke, the king of force, appearing. His body was like a teleportation, his face was angry, and he was waving an iron fist that flashed with thunder. He bombarded Sasuke's body violently. After 4th Hokage listened to it, his furious mood instantly calmed down, and after that, Obito informed all the shadows about his so-called project Tsuki no Mi. There is no doubt that the 5 shadows objected. Others agreed with Onogi's words and started attacking directly against Uchiha Sasuke's team.
The King of Force Sasuke flew out again, and the blood spurted out of his mouth again. Dust escape. Original realm stripping technique.
Hee. How can I only let Hokage-sama take action? As a Tsuchikage, this old man must also participate. Onogi laughed. Seeing this, the guard behind him quickly performed medical ninjutsu to heal Hokage's arm.
At a critical moment, Obito appeared and brought the 4 of Sasuke to Kamui's space, only to escape.
Seeing the forced King Sasuke being taken away, Mifune ordered the samurai to clean up and move a new table, and the 5 shadow talks continued. The tadpole-like flame resurfaces, this time on Hokage's arm. Saying a word with no expression on his face, Sharingan's eyes twitched wildly, and he said softly, Amaterasu. Oh, are you all here? Let's send you on your way? Let's take action? If the rest of the ninja world knows that our 5 shadow talks have been sabotaged, and they leave openly, the face of our 5 major countries will be disgraced, Onogi said calmly. Uchiha Sasuke stood up staggeringly, the dark blue bones on his body disappeared quietly. Hokage. The dull sound resounded again. In the shock of everyone, Sasuke's body disappeared like dust inside, and died. Not even a trace of blood was left. Advertisement. It didn't take long for everyone to talk, and Obito, the king of forcing, reappeared. He declared in advance that it was not a fight, and by the way told 4th Hokage that the 8 tails Jinchuriki brought by Sasuke was just a tentacle of 8 tails. The real 8 tails was still out there. Whoosh! After letting the masked man go, Kushina will never let Sasuke go. Boom! Sasuke, the owner of Susanoo,
was beaten to death by the five shadows without even holding on for half a minute. The power of the King Sasuke comes from Sharingan, and he was already in a hurry to face a cage level, not to mention the five shadows together. Seeing Kushina crack his Amaterasu so lightly, forcing King Sasuke's pupils to shrink for a while, he thought to himself, how is that possible? To say that the King of Force Sasuke is also awesome. He started Mangekyo by himself, faced the five shadows directly, and dared to make a move. He really thought he was Uchiha Madara. Not to mention that the five shadows teamed up. Fourth Raikage listened to Tsunade's words, and felt the black fireworks that were getting bigger and bigger. Without any hesitation, he slashed directly at the arm with his other hand, and the half-arm of Amaterasu was instantly cut off by Fourth Raikage. Sturdy breath of the air is unmistakable. He clasped his hands together and drank, and a transparent white three-dimensional barrier appeared in his hands instantly, wrapping Uchiha Sasuke in an instant. At this time, Raikage, who knew that he had been tricked, ran in and saw the scene of Uchiha Sasuke being turned into particles. Obito didn't say anything, just pretended to announce that the Fourth Ninja War began. Then he disappeared and left with space ninjutsu. The figure of Uchiha Sasuke suddenly appeared behind Onogi, and the sharp grass pheasant sword flashed with lightning, and he chopped at Onogi's body. Chapter 265 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. In the dark and quiet space, a figure floated in the air. His eyes were tightly closed, but his whole body exuded a terrifying aura. This momentum is like the rushing seawater, overwhelming the whole different space, and even has fluctuations overflowing outward. The items Hanxing put here in the space were all shattered by this terrifying aura. The time and space barriers in different dimensions are not very stable, and Hanxing is breaking out all the coercion unconsciously. This alien space, which is only less than 100 meters away, seems to be squeezed by the boundless seawater. This crack is getting bigger and bigger, and in an instant it becomes a crack as thick as a waist. On the opposite side of the space is the Senju family residence where Hanxing is located. The coercion like the sea was vented in an instant, and it rushed towards the crack. At this time, there is no one at home. Hinata is practicing secretly at home. She does not want to be a burden to Hanxing. At this time, a terrifying coercion came from inside, and Hinata's pretty face changed. With this coercion, she felt that her whole body was stuck in the mud, the surrounding air was squeezing her all the time, and it was like carrying a mountain on her back. That direction. It's where Hanxing is. Hinata frowned, with a hint of worry on her face. Gritting his teeth, chakra surged all over his body, and walked towards it with difficulty. Advertisement: the more you go inside, the heavier the pressure will be. If she hadn't successfully broken through the cage level not long ago, and she focused on physical cultivation, it would have been impossible for her to successfully go inside. Hinata walked on his legs and feet as heavy as lead, with sweat on his face. Pushing the door open, he saw a huge crack in the space in front of him, and he could vaguely see Hanxing practicing. Seeing that Hanxing was fine, and the momentum that seemed to be released unconsciously, Hinata breathed a sigh of relief, and hurriedly walked outside. She knew that the whole Konoha was about to explode. Indeed, as Hinata thought, with Hanxing's pressure unintentionally revealed, the whole Konoha boiled like hot water. Jonin is fine, after all, the more the pressure spreads out, the less pressure, but the closer you are to Hanxing's house, the pressure is not so great. Thump. Thump. A genin and a civilian were crushed by this sudden force and collapsed to the ground. Chunin can only walk tremblingly. In Hokage's office, after Tsunade left, Shikaku's brain will temporarily replace everything in Tsunade. Suddenly, a huge coercion caused him to stumble. Someone. What happened? Lu Ju said in his eyes. I'm investigating, Mr. Lu Ju, but this pressure seems to be coming from the mansion near Lord Hanxing. Because the more you go to him, the heavier the pressure. And Anbu gasped a little. Obviously he couldn't stand the pressure. However, today this kind of thing will definitely be firmly recorded in my heart and will be unforgettable. Sent everyone Hanxing and Hinata back to their homes. Sorry. Lu Ju has caused you trouble. The space was rippling, and Hanxing's figure appeared in front of Lu Ju and the others. Advertisement. The pressure on everyone who was planning to say goodbye to Hinata in the outside world suddenly lightened, and everyone stumbled. Understood. Might Guy murmured like sunshine and shouted loudly. I don't know. I can't walk when I walk to his door. That coercion is not ordinary. I can only come here to report to you, Kakashi said truthfully. 8 inner gates. Open the door. Open the door of hue. Open the door of life. Open the door of injury. Even open the 4th gate. Might Guy's whole body is wrapped in a rich green airflow. That's it. We're relieved. We've got you here, Hinata. Lu Ju breathed a sigh of relief and said with some panting. Do you want to go there, Lukisa? He said respectfully. Seniors, I already know what happened to you. Hanxing is fine. It's just that he revealed it unconsciously during his cultivation. I think it will subside when he wakes up. The pressure around me was greatly reduced, and when I was about to push the door in front of me was suddenly opened.
Their faces were pale, their bodies were a little unsteady, and there were dense beads of sweat on their foreheads. It was obvious that they had reached the limit here, except of course Might Guy.
Now, Kakashi can only walk to the door of Hanxing's house. How strong is the pressure there?
He is very clear about Hanxing's identity. To put it poorly, one person can easily suppress any one of the 5 major countries. With him, Konoha can secure the largest country in the ninja world. What? You said you couldn't walk when you reached the door. Lu Ju's eyes widened in disbelief. Lu Ju's eyes flashed, and just as he was about to get up, Kakashi appeared in front of him and said with a blank face, Don't think about it, it's really from Hanxing, I just went to see it. Who? Finally got it all, he murmured, taking a long breath.
Just as Hinata was talking to the crowd, in the desolate and lifeless space, Hanxing's closed eyes suddenly opened. His eyes were deep, like a black hole. He seemed to be able to see through time, through space, and see the former ninja world. Advertisement. He is a man who depends on his IQ for food, and is now the assistant of Hokage, so he definitely can't stay here too much. Yeah. Shuru nodded. The figure moved and disappeared into the alien space. Luhisa. You're here. Yamanaka Kaiichi gritted his teeth and trembled. Guy. Among Us. You are a pure body cultivator. You open the 8 inner gates to see what's going on inside, Lu Ju said solemnly. He frowned slightly, looking at the exposed space crack. His mind moved, the momentum like a stormy sea instantly subsided, and the space crack in front of him began to slowly recover. The two walked towards Hanxing's mansion while they were talking, and when they got there, a lot of familiar elite jonin. Guy, Asuma, Aburame Jui, Inazuka Pauhong had gathered at Hanxing's door. Kakashi is definitely at the forefront of Konoha's elite jonin. If he hadn't been trapped in Sharingan, he would have been a cage-level powerhouse. It's okay. Lu Ju shook his head and waved his hand to let everyone leave. As for what is in my mind, I don't know. Go, Lu Ju gritted his teeth, let me know, Guy. Among Us. He specializes in physique. Let him go inside to see the situation, and if he can't do it, go and call Mr. Jiraiya. When the others saw Hanxing appear, they knew there was nothing to see, so they said hello to Hanxing and left. In the living room, Hanxing hugged Hinata, sniffed the fragrance of Hinata's body, and said, Did Hinata Tsunade take Kushina to the Iron Country? Hinata walked out from the inside with a pale face, and she was shocked when she saw the figure outside. She knew that there would be people outside, but she didn't expect so many people. But the upbringing of the big family made her not forget it. How is Hanxing? Is there a problem? Lu Ju said anxiously. Chapter 266 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. That's right. Tsunade took the 3 of Ino and Kushina to the Iron Country. Hinata whispered softly, lying in Hanxing's arms. Is that so? I'll go there, Hanxing mused. He remembered that in the original book, Urzuzi and Obito would make a big fuss at the 5 shadow talks, but now he killed Danzo, which changed the plot, and I don't know if there will be other troubles. Well, then be careful. Hinata gently arranged the collar for Hanxing and said softly. Yes. A trace was printed on Hinata's head, and Hanxing suddenly disappeared in place. In a closed conference room, at this time, the 5 shadows quarreled over who was the leader, and no one obeyed the other. Oyegi is too old to be a leader, and Gaara is too young. The Land of Water used to be the base of Akatsuki's organization, and it was also rejected. You can only choose between Tsunade and Raikage. Terumi Mei supports Tsunade, Onogi supports Raikage, and Gaara chooses to be neutral and not help anyone. He has just taken over the role of Fengying, he has little experience, no one will help, and neither side will be offended, which is in line with the strategic development of Sand Shinobi Village. Hokage. For now, none of the members of Akatsuki's organization are ninjas from the Land of Thunder. It means that Raikage is most unlikely to have any involvement with Akatsuki. And what about you, Konoha? Formerly Orochimaru, then Uchiha Itachi, it is very difficult for you to become the leader of the Four-War Alliance of the ninja world, Onogi said truthfully. Tsuchikage's words caused everyone to fall into silence, and Terumi Mei also felt that what Tsuchikage said was right. If it wasn't for her family with Tsunade, she would definitely be turned against her. Advertisement. As the crowd swayed, the space above the crowd swayed with ripples again. A figure came out of the space. This person is Hanxing from Konoha. At his level, he has space attributes, and with the speed of thunder and lightning, it shouldn't be too simple to go from Konoha to the Iron Country. Hanxing looked at the figures below indifferently, and said indifferently, Tsunade becomes the leader of the Ninja World Alliance, this matter is settled. The tone was flat, but it was full of unquestionable, contemptuous, and domineering colors. Hanxing's words caught everyone's attention in the entire conference room. Onogi looked up at the figure in the air, his pupils shrank for a while, and the mouth he wanted to open instantly closed. Secretly slandered in my heart, how did you attract this guy? Gaara frowned, this person seems to be Naruto's teammate. Temari's eyes lit up, what this kid just said stopped being handsome. Hanxing, are you out? X2 Ino and Kushina said at the same time. Yeah. Hanxing smiled softly at the two girls. Boy, your name is Chiba Hanxing, right? It's Tsunade's disciple. What right do you have to speak here? Is this kind of a scene you can participate in as a teenager? Fourth Raikage I immediately said furiously. Why is he not qualified? He is my husband. His words are mine. Before Hanxing could speak, Terumi Mei said in a rage, like a tigress protecting her calf. What? Fourth Raikage exclaimed. One country, Mizukage, and Konoha Hokage's direct disciple got married. Fourth Raikage, who was used to seeing strong winds and waves, was also a little lost. This information is not ordinary. If it gets out, it will shock the entire ninja world. No wonder Terumi Mei just said that he and 5th Hokage are family. Advertisement. I just thought Mizukage was talking in anger, but it turns out that Hokage is really family, Fourth Raikage said with a livid face. Even so, he can only represent you Mizukage and Hokage, at most a draw. Hanxing's body slowly fell from the air, and he looked at Fourth Raikage eye flatly. Are you asking Onogi if he still supports you? What do you mean? Fourth Raikage turned his head. I saw Onogi said unwillingly. I'm sorry Fourth Raikage, the old man in this vote is the same as 5th Kazekage, abstaining. Onogi. You. Fourth Raikage exasperated. Tell me. Why are you a third Tsuchikage still afraid of a hairy boy? You are really going back more and more, Fourth Raikage sneered. Turning his head to look at Hanxing, he roared loudly, let Tsunade be the commander-in-chief. The old man will never agree, unless any of you can beat me. Otherwise, let's not talk about this matter. As soon as Fourth Raikage's words fell, Onogi, Tsunade, Terumi Mei, Kushina. Those who knew Hanxing's true identity all looked at Fourth Raikage with pity. What kind of eyes do you guys look at? Do you really think this old man will lose? Fourth Raikage's face was gloomy and terrifying. Are you looking for abuse? Satisfy you? Hanxing smiled flatly. Pause for a while, with a playful expression, just in time, I haven't seen you for more than 10 years, let me see how much you have grown over the years. What do you mean? Fourth Raikage asked with a frown. Let's talk after the fight. A faint voice was left in midair and in the next instant, Hanxing's figure silently disappeared in place. Being an old man is scary. Fourth Raikage was not afraid at all, his whole body flashed with lightning, and lightning-style chakra mode was turned on instantly. Alas! The brain is a good thing. It's a pity that 4th Raikage doesn't have it, Onogi whispered. Mifune, this conference room is estimated to be out of use. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard a dull sound, and then saw 4th Raikage fly backwards into the distance. Advertisement. After passing through many walls, it disappeared from the sight of everyone. Sir Raikage! Darui and Shi shouted worriedly, and the figures instantly ran towards the direction where 4th Raikage flew out. Everyone else has their sights set on where Hanxing is. Oyegi is nothing, after all. He knows Hanxing's identity, but Gaara and others are different. Their eyes widened. Temari and Kankuro behind them opened their mouths unknowingly. They obviously didn't expect that this fellow from Naruto's class would be so terrifying. One punch knocks 4th Raikage out of sight. 4th Raikage's strength is definitely ranked first among the 5 shadows. One punch and flying. How strong is this strength? Damn it. Boy. The old man won't let you go. 4th Raikage's furious voice came from a distance. Whoosh. Just after roaring, I saw 4th Raikage filled with chakra and appeared in front of Hanxing. The iron fist was raised high, and he shouted loudly, Changlio. The violent energy with powerful force is heading towards Hanxing's head tribe. If this hit, Hanxing wouldn't die. Too slow, indifferent tone, with a trace of disdain. There is not a trace of muscle in the thin arm, grabbing against 4th Raikage's iron fist. Seeing Hanxing's nonchalant actions, the furious 4th Raikage added another point, and the power in his hands reached the maximum horsepower. Chapter 267 Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Boom. A dull sound resounded around. The floor under Hanxing's feet was immediately covered with cracks, and then collapsed, forming a small pothole. But 4th Raikage's fist was firmly caught by Hanxing. When 4th Raikage saw this, he was inexplicably horrified. He knew how strong his Changlio was. To put it poorly, he could kill an elite Jonin with one punch. I also used this trick often with 8 tails, and won many battles. Now being taken over by the young man in front of him with ease, this made him a little unacceptable. Even when his fist hit Hanxing's palm, it was like hitting an iron mountain, a giant mountain, but his hands felt numb. For a time, 4th Raikage's eyes turned towards Hanxing became extremely solemn. It's my turn. Hanxing's voice fell, the other hand, clenched a fist like a phantom, cut through time and directly bombarded 4th Raikage's abdomen. Boom. 4th Raikage was blasted out by Hanxing again. After a while, 4th Raikage appeared in front of Hanxing again, looking a little embarrassed, and said solemnly, Who are you? What do you mean by not seeing you more than 10 years ago? After being hit by Hanxing twice in a row, the furious Raikage regained some sense of reason. He, who pursued the supremacy of force, finally stopped talking with his fists. Advertisement. His name is Senju Hanxing, also known as Senju Han. The god of the ninja world who disappeared more than 10 years ago. Onogi looked at 4th Raikage, who still didn't understand Hanxing's identity, and had to remind him aloud. Senju Han. It's you. Listening to Onogi's words, 4th Raikage pointed at Hanxing, his eyes filled with disbelief. So, are you still fighting? Hanxing said flatly. 4th Raikage gritted his teeth, trembling all over, but did not speak. He is reckless, but he is not stupid, and he has no habit of being a human flesh bag. Uchiha Madara could have been killed more than 10 years ago, let alone 10 years later. That's the case. Then Tsunade becomes the leader of the Ninja World Alliance. Who is against it? Hanxing swept the surroundings indifferently. Gaara is the neutral. Hanxing mainly looks at Onogi and 4th Raikage. The two had to bow their heads under the pressure of Hanxing. So far, the 5 shadows talks are over with the help of Hanxing. Tsunade is the supreme commander of the ninja coalition, 4th Raikage of the general staff. Afterwards, Mifune represented the warriors of the Iron Kingdom and participated in the 4 battles. If the Akatsuki organization wins, the entire ninja world will be over. Then the Tsunades discuss specific matters, regardless of Hanxing's business. All he has to do is fight Madara or even Otsutsuki Kagaya at the end. At this moment, Kushina frowned, and Hanxing, who noticed Kushina's expression, suddenly said, What's the matter? What happened? The toad on Mount Myoboku is calling me. It seems to be in a hurry. Open it. What if something happens to Konoha? Hanxing said. He doesn't care if this is the Five Shadows talks or not. Advertisement. The conversation between the two made the people around them suddenly stop, as if they were attracted by their words. Kushina bit her fingers, her hands became imprinted, and said lightly, summoning technique. A toad appeared in front of Kushina. This toad was the contact frog belonging to Mount Miaomu, the one killed by Danzo in the original book. As soon as the contact frog appeared, he said anxiously, Master Kushina, it's not good. Master Jiraiya, let me tell you. Konoha was attacked. The situation is very critical. Let Master Hanxing go back to support. What? Hearing Liaison Frog's words, the others present were stunned. Although Konoha is declining, Hanxing is the most powerful country in the ninja world. No one can shake it. They are a little strange. Except for the masked man who just left, who else can attack Konoha? Who attacked Konoha? Do you know? For what purpose? Tsunade said solemnly. Yes. The Four Shadows of Konoha, according to Lord Jiraiya, they were brought out by impure world reincarnation, Liaison Frog said quickly. How is that possible? Orochimaru is dead. Who in this world will impure world reincarnation? Tsunade's face was shocked with a hint of anxiety. Forget it, I'll go back. If I'm not mistaken, their purpose should be Naruto, Hanxing whispered. Nine Tails Jinchuriki? Onogi murmured, turning his eyes to Kushina. Others also looked at Kushina subconsciously. After all, there is a Nine Tails Jinchuriki here. Can you go back alone? We'll go back with you, Tsunade exclaimed. Don't. You guys still watch Kushina here. Who knows if this place will be attacked? Hanxing finished speaking, and the whole person disappeared silently. After Hanxing left, Fourth Raikage came back to his senses and shouted, not good, then. Delui, let's go. We must not let Shao's people succeed. After saying that, he didn't say goodbye to everyone present, and left with the two of them. You said, will our country be attacked? After a while, Onogi said solemnly. Advertisement, impossible. Knowing that the purpose is only the tailed beast, he made it very clear that he would not attack without the tailed beast. Terumi Mei said solemnly. Indeed. According to the information I have received, except for 8 tails and 9 tails, all other tailed beasts in the entire ninja world have been plundered by Shao's organization. Therefore, it is necessary for me to propose that 8 tails and 9 tails be hidden in a hidden place, Onogi proposed. Meanwhile, Konoha, not long after the village was built, it was baptized by the fire of war at this time. The destruction this time is not only as simple as the destruction, but also hurts in the heart. After all, the one who attacked Konoha this time was the cage that they had respected in the past, and it is still carved on Hokage rock. At this time, Jiraiya has entered Sage mode. In order to prevent Naruto from being discovered, he did not summon Fukasaku and Shima Senren, but only summoned the 3 Toad brothers. Yo! Sage mode. I didn't expect Konoha to learn it except me. The talent is good. Ha ha ha. It's a pity it's incomplete. First Hokage Senju Hashirama laughed honestly. Oh, really? I knew this kind of ninjutsu would not have been invented. I didn't expect to be controlled and attacked my village in the end. Second Hokage Senju Tobarama's face was extremely gloomy. Jiraiya, you have finally returned to the village. Not bad. Yuan Fei Hiruzen looked relieved. Mr. Jiraiya. Long time no see. Namikaze Minato smiled, worthy of the nickname of the little son. The 4 shadows of past dynasties stood in a row on the streets of Konoha, and their bodies were full of flaws. But Jiraiya and others all want to die. Not to mention how much power the 4 of them can exert after impure world reincarnation. It is immortal and immortal, and the endless chakra is enough for Jiraiya and others to drink such a pot. Chapter 268 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. That. First generation, second generation and third generation in Minato. You should come to Konoha for Naruto, Jiraiya said solemnly. That's right. As expected of Mr. Jiraiya, one of the Sanins, Yuan Fei Hiruzen said with a numb expression. The obvious consciousness has been erased, and the people behind the scenes have taken action. Who are you? There should be no other people in the Akatsuki organization except a masked person. Moreover, Orochimaru failed to capture Sasuke and was killed by Sasuke. How can there be people from Impure World reincarnation in this world? Jiraiya seriously speaking. It doesn't matter who I am, the important thing is, do you want to surrender Naruto? I know that the high-end combat power that you Konoha can use now is only you, Jiraiya, plus a Kakashi, Yuan Fei Hiruzen, gloomy opening. Is that you? Control our mice? Why aren't we afraid that we will break free of your ninjutsu? Second Hokage Senju Tobirama turned his head and said with a livid face. You can give it a try. This is my improved Impure World reincarnation, otherwise how could I call you out with peace of mind? Cut. Senju Tobirama snorted coldly. If he could solve this art, he would have solved it long ago, and he wouldn't say what he just said. By the way, are you Hokage of Konoha now? Senju Hashirama, who was a little silly, said to Jiraiya as if he didn't understand what was going on. Shodai, no, I'm used to being free, when Hokage will bind me, now Konoha's Hokage is your granddaughter, Senju Tsunade, Jiraiya said respectfully. Yes. Tsunade. First Hokage looked lost, like a dead tree with no life, as if thinking of Tsunade when he was a child. Big brother. Be careful, Senju Tobirama of Tsundeer said solemnly. Advertisement, ha ha ha. It's nothing, just a little surprised. Suna can become a Hokage. Senju Hashirama smiled honestly. Hey. This is the end of the gossip. I want to ask if you want to hand over Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Otherwise, with your current strength, Konoha, you can't deal with the four shadows of all dynasties. Yuan Fei Hiruzen said sadly. Smile, hideous and terrifying. Impossible. It's impossible for us to hand Naruto to your Shao organization. Jiraiya sternly refused, pausing for a while, with a weird smile on her face. Who told you? Today's Konoha is not sure to deal with the four shadows of the past. You mean Chiba Hanxing? But I remember he seemed to be retreating in a secret place. Today's Konoha, who else is besides your cage level? Are you here trying to delay time? I'm sorry, I won't be fooled, Yuan Fei Hiruzen said flatly. The expressions of the other four shadows changed one after another. Although their consciousness was still there, their bodies kept controlling like a puppet, and attacked Konoha frantically. No matter what Namikaze Minato uses, Hinata has always been a ninjutsu, 8 trigrams revolving heaven, or 6 moves to evade Namikaze Minato's attacks. Rinnegan? That's amazing. The Eye of the Immortal can be defeated. It seems that Konoha has produced a great talent, Senju Hashirama exclaimed. Makes Namikaze Minato even praise Hinata's cleverness. On the other hand, Kakashi and Second Hokage fought back and forth. Second Hokage developed a lot of ninjutsu, and Kakashi is also known as a copy ninja, and copied hundreds of ninjutsu. The battle between the two is completely ninjutsu. Be careful. It's the wood-style 4-pillar prison technique, Senju Hashirama said softly at this moment with his hands knotted. Therefore, Hinata's action is a word, steady as an old dog. Advertisement. As soon as he finished speaking, Senju Hashirama's seal came to an end. Humph. Jiraiya right. Hope you can keep it, Senju Tobirama Tsunade exclaimed. Except for first Hokage who used ninjutsu, the other 3 shadows were different, completely disregarding the physical injury, and directly shot at everyone. That's right. Very clever. The Hyuga family has produced such a genius as you, and it is expected to prosper in the future. You are young. Do you know Naruto? After Jiraiya finished speaking, she ran towards Senju Hashirama, and the others found their opponents. Just after the siege, Jiraiya broke out of the 4-pillar prison with a virtual hold on Big Ball Rasengan. Revolving Heaven, Iron Body, Finger Painting, Moonwalk and Shaving are the ones she uses. Sage Art. Thousands of hair needles. Jiraiya's hair flicked, and her dense white hair was like 1,000 books. Attacking the other 4 shadows, this is an indiscriminate attack. Nice trick. Senju Hashirama complimented without hesitation. At the same time, Minato and Yuan Fei Hiruzen, who had regained consciousness, also spoke up. Although Konoha is now in command of Lukisa, when it comes to such a big event, Jiraiya is the one who decides. Damn it! Jiraiya scolded, loudly. Remember, our mission is to delay time, not fight, just delay until Hanxing comes over. The ground rolled with dirt, and a huge cell formed by huge trees completely surrounded Jiraiya. I will play against Shodai, Kakashi. You will face the second generation. Guy, Asuma and other Jonin will play against the third generation. Hinata, fourth Hokage is up to you. Remember, you must wait until Hanxing comes back, Jiraiya said solemnly. Advertisement. Although the movements of the two are small, they are murderous step by step, and they will die if they are not careful. Little girl, you look like a member of the Hyuga clan. Hands quickly gathered a huge chakra ball, while shouting, Sage Art, Big Ball Rasengan. The other few shadows were also chatting while fighting, as if they were playing at home. Your name is Jiraiya. Sorry, Senju Hashirama looked apologetic. No. We are in the same class, of course. The death of the fourth generation is definitely not the fourth generation. After all, the fourth generation is now immortal. Oh. There are some means. But some are not enough. Senju Hashirama whispered. His hands were uncontrollably and quickly knotted. The whole body was filled with chakra, and thick trees appeared beside Senju Hashirama to block Jiraiya's attack. Yes. Lord Fourth Generation. But the legend of Konoha, Rinnegan Shodai should know it. Even the owner of Rinnegan was easily defeated by him. Jiraiya praised without hesitation. Yuan Fei, Hiruzen and Asuma are relatively simple, except for Guy who is in charge of attacking. Asuma is in charge of restraining Yuan Fei's Hiruzen's ninjutsu. Overall, it's okay and can be stable. As for Hinata and fourth generation, the two are simpler. Since 100 healings mark from Tsunade, Hinata has stocked up a lot of chakra over the years. Ha ha ha. Don't worry Shodai. As long as you don't have the big move like the tree world descending, the others are useless to me. Jiraiya smiled confidently. Who is Hanxing? Can you say something like this in a half-sage mode? Is it amazing? Senju Hashirama asked curiously while attacking. Chapter 269 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. How about Naruto? How are you? Namikaze Minato heard this. A rare wave of turbulence appeared on his cracked face. Fortunately, Naruto is now practicing with Lord Jiraiya, and I heard that he is now studying magic at Mount Myoboku. Hinata said softly. Senjutsu. Has Naruto grown to this point? Namikaze Minato sighed with emotion. On the roof in the distance, the think tank headed by Lu Ju stood here, looking at the battle in the distance. A trace of complexity flashed in his eyes. Alas! I never thought that the four shadows, who have always been respected by people, would attack us Konoha because of impure world reincarnation. Behind him, Hai Yi and other non-combat members fell silent. Hai Yi. How are the refugees? Lu Ju asked again. I'm rapidly alienating, and, looking at the people behind the scenes, I don't seem to be in a hurry to destroy Konoha. It seems to be waiting for someone. Hai Yi frowned. The strength of first Hokage and second Hokage should not be so weak, and the attack is so single, otherwise they will not even have a range of big moves, and the tree world will not be used. Instead, he has been using some small ninjutsu and taijutsu. This made him a little puzzled. They should be waiting for someone, Lu Ju pondered. Who? Naruto. That's true, Hai nodded. After a pause, he said, would you like to let the people from the ceiling class try it? Advertisement. Do you think they can intervene in that level of battle? Lu Ju asked back. Yamanaka Kaiichi looked at Kakashi who was close to death under second Hokage in the distance, and was silent for a while. Okay. He was thinking too much. It's finally here. At this time, Lu Ju, who was looking into the distance, breathed a sigh of relief. Who's here? Yamanaka Kai frowned, and soon saw ripples in the sky above the four shadows of the past. This is Hanxing, Yamanaka Kai murmured. Now, on the battlefield, as the space ripples above the four shadows appear. The body that had made them move suddenly stopped. Oh, stop. It seems that the man behind the scenes is waiting for the man above, Senju Tobirama said calmly. Not only are they waiting for him, but the people behind the scenes should have a grudge against him, Yuan Fei Hiruzen interjected. This space ninjutsu. Much better than me. Namikaze Minato rarely praised. Oh, it looks like Konoha's current top combat power is back, Senju Hashirama said with interest. What's the situation? You turned out to be Senju Han. What the hell? Why are you so young? Jiraiya scolded directly. His face was expressionless, his eyes swept to the four shadows below, and then stopped on Jiraiya, jokingly said, Jiraiya, you are really embarrassed. Oh, so we Senju clan have another ninja god? That must be very powerful, right? First Hokage looked happy. Advertisement. He didn't have a knot, his belly was bulging high, his mouth was filled with chakra, and he snorted softly, fire style. The fire is extinguished. Got it? Lord Jiraiya. The three of them shouted in unison, and followed Jiraiya towards the direction of Lu Ju and the others. Hanxing's words made Jiraiya and others puzzled, and then they instantly thought of the person behind the four shadows attacking Konoha. Under the gaze of all the ninjas, the swirling space ripples are like a space portal, and a figure steps out skillfully from it. Jiraiya was silent, and Kakashi apparently spoke of his sadness. That's right, Hanxing said calmly without explaining, are you waiting for me to come back? After listening to Jiraiya's words, Konoha shinobi, headed by Asuma, left quickly. You know him, Kakashi? Jiraiya asked quickly. At the same time, in the sea of fire, four figures walked out of it, and they had different degrees of burns on their bodies. Turning his head, he said to Kakashi, Kakashi, Hinata, Guy, let's go. With such power, we really don't need our help. Are you sure, Hanxing? Even if you are Senjuhan, now is not the time to joke, Jiraiya said solemnly. Hanxing looked at Namikaze Minato in surprise and nodded, you guessed it right. Oh, interesting. You discovered all this? As expected of Senjuhan, who has disappeared from the ninja world for more than 10 years now, Yuan Fei Hiruzen said with a numb expression. The moment it fell to the ground, a particularly wide-ranging sea of red fire instantly formed, covering all the four shadows of the past dynasties. Not bad. We didn't lose the face of our Senju family. Second Hokage Senju Tobirama also looked relieved. This range, this power, it's comparable to the upper limit of blood, Jiraiya murmured with a wry smile. Advertisement. Well, no way. Who let the opponent be the strongest first Hokage in the history of Hokage? Fighting for such a long time, I am lucky not to die, Jiraiya said angrily. Hanxing looked at the four shadows with a flat face, turned his head, Jiraiya, take Hinata and the others away, you will only get in the way by staying here. Magodan Guy was so shocked that he could not speak. Kakashi had a calm face. With his IQ, through Hanxing's various practices, plus Terumi Mei, Kushina, and Tsunade's eyes looking at Hanxing, he had long been with Luju. Usually secretly guessed. Yuan Fei Hiruzen's words shocked Jiraiya and the others. It's finally here, if he doesn't come, he may not be able to hold on anymore. Hanxing didn't speak, just replaced it with actions. The time to reminisce is over. Let's start. I want to take back all the damage you did to me. By the way, let you see how Konoha was destroyed by your own people. Yuan Fei Hiruzen smiled gloomily. Kakashi, Might Guy, Hinata stay. The others leave quickly. Jiraiya shouted, and her tense mood instantly relaxed a little. As elite Jonin, they naturally know who the person inside is. With him, at least, in their hearts, they have a glimmer of hope. Yeah, Orochimaru's right-hand man. I didn't expect that after Orochimaru's death, everything about Orochimaru would be inherited by him, Kakashi said solemnly. This rich breath of life. Are you a member of the Senju clan? You also awakened the sage body? First Hokage was stunned for a moment, and then showed a look of relief. In the next instant, Yuan Fei's Hiruzen thoughts returned, and at the same time, the four shadows of the past began to attack again uncontrollably. It's him. Kakashi's eyes flashed with surprise. It turned out to be Mr. Han. I said why you were wearing a mask all the time and didn't show your face. You must have used a similar space ninjutsu to travel to the past, right? The extremely smart Namikaze Minato instantly thought of the reason. The scorching high temperature swept through the air, and the red fireworks were like lava, falling from the sky. Chapter 270 Previous chapter Next chapter advertisement. But then, the stars like confetti appeared in the air, but the injuries of the four people recovered at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, they recovered as before. Boy! Those who come out of impure world reincarnation can only be sealed, otherwise, we are immortal existences. Senju Tobarama explained loudly. Really? Hanxing shook his head and smiled. The next moment, the sound suddenly disappeared in place. In the flash of lightning, Hanxing's figure appeared in front of third Hokage. It's so fast, my eyes can only be blurred and I can see a trace of afterimage. Our Senju clan really has an amazing existence. Senju Hashirama sighed. Humph. What's the use of hurrying? It's not like it can't kill us, Senju Tobarama said dissatisfied. I already told that kid how to do it, and he still used ordinary lightning to attack. Do you think his words are false? While the two were talking, the controlled body began to seal, and the target was Hanxing. Yuan Fei Hiruzen looked at the thunder and lightning in front of him. A trace of complexity flashed in his eyes. But now he is a dead person, but his relationship with Konoha is still there, but his grievance with Hanxing is clear. Hanxing. Nidame is right. Your lightning-style bloodline is very strong, but it is useless against impure world reincarnation. That's not true. Whispered softly. The sharp sword of Hanxing's thunder and lightning slashed directly through Yuan Fei Hiruzen's body. Like a piece of paper, Yuan Fei Hiruzen was divided into two. To the surprise of the other three shadows, Yuan Fei Hiruzen, who was divided into two halves, did not return to his original state, but stared at them blankly with his eyes open. At this moment, from behind, Namikaze Minato swung towards Hanxing with Rasengan in hand. Advertisement Hanxing's expression didn't change, as if he had expected it. He stepped laterally, leaning slightly to one side, dodging Namikaze Minato's Rasengan. Look out, Han-sama, Namikaze Minato said softly at this time. The whole person stood up when Hanxing turned to the side. A powerful whip kicked towards Hanxing with bursts of air. The strength of Namikaze Minato is only cage level, with flying thunder god technique. At most, it is the peak of cage level. This speed is not generally slow in Hanxing's opinion. Among the four shadows of the past, the only person he really cares about is Senju Hashirama, and the others have no threat to him. Grab Namikaze Minato's whip leg and slam it to the ground. Boom! A small pothole suddenly appeared in the ground. The gray lightning flashed on and off, and a small arc erupted from Hanxing's hand, spreading rapidly towards Minato. Click! Click! In an instant, where the gray electric current flows, there are tiny cracks all over Namikaze Minato. Then, the whole person shattered with a bang. At the same time, a white light appeared in everyone's sight. That was Namikaze Minato's soul. At this time, Minato was still a little puzzled, and he glanced at the changes on his body again, with an apologetic smile on his face, as expected of Mr. Han. Even we of impure world reincarnation can crack it. Sorry for causing trouble to Konoha. It's okay. It's not your fault. I don't think the Konoha people will blame you. Hanxing shook his head. That's it. Thank you, everyone. I'll go back first. Namikaze Minato greeted the three of them, and the whole body turned into a white light and disappeared. Get out of the way, boy. This is not an ordinary current. Senju Tobarama shouted anxiously, looking at Hanxing, who was stunned. Advertisement. Water style. Uzumaki water blade. A little cold today. It is estimated that it will be 4, sorry. At this moment, his hands quickly formed a seal, and his body was filled with chakra. Hanxing ignored the two attacks behind him, and instead said to Yuan Fei Hiruzen, who was in the two halves, it's time to send you on your way. Lord Third Hokage. In the anxiety of everyone, Hanxing turned around and looked at the Uzumaki water blade in front of him. Under the command of First Hokage, gallop towards Hanxing. With him around, the Senju family can develop steadily for at least 20 or 30 years without declining. It's work. Yuan Fei Hiruzen said flatly. At this time, behind Hanxing, there was a burst of air braking, and the ground shaking sounded. With a thought, a black ball appeared in front of Hanxing. He turned into a black barrier, wrapped Hanxing firmly and protected him. As soon as he finished speaking, a gray thunder sword directly smashed Yuan Fei Hiruzen's head. What's the hurry? If you care, you will be in chaos. Master's strength will not be so easily defeated by your water style. Senju Hashirama is wise and foolish. A piece of blue spiral thread spit out from the mouth of Senju Tobarama. These spiral threads are high-pressure water streams compressed to the ultimate. A piece of gravel not far away was accidentally touched by it, and it was split into two halves in an instant. At the same time, there was a violent tremor on the ground, and thick trees appeared beside first Hokage and second Hokage like ferocious pythons. Boom! Is this a weapon made of yin and yang? Senju Tobarama looked at the black barrier, his eyes narrowed, and he thought to himself. Advertisement when, so far, in a face-to-face effort, fourth Hokage returned to the Pure Land. Third Hokage was dismembered and lay on the ground without combat power. At this time, the seal of first generation and second generation is coming to an end. Yuan Fei Hiruzen, like Namikaze Minato, turned into a soul and glanced at Konoha in the distance, and even Luju and others in the distance, and returned to Konoha with a look of relief. Condensed high-pressure water streams appeared in front of Hanxing's eyes. Yuan Fei Hiruzen shouted anxiously, quickly do it. Don't look at Hanxing and third generation. Fourth Hokage played for a long time, but it was completed in an instant. Wood style. Wood dragon technique. Oh, very capable. Looks like we're still underestimating him, Tobarama. First Hokage had a hint of surprise in his eyes. That's yin-yang escape. That kid must have mastered the yin-yang escape technique, Senju Tobarama said solemnly. The barrier made by the black sphere is as indestructible as a mountain, and the high-pressure water flow can only make a dull sound when it bombards the black barrier, and it can't even break the defense. The blue threads were unevenly dispersed, but no doubt their purpose was to rush towards Hanxing. From the moment Hanxing killed Yuan Fei Hiruzen and fourth Hokage with ease, he knew that the Senju clan were not ordinary teenagers. Second Mizukage didn't want such an excellent junior to be killed by himself. In the distance, everyone in Jiraiya was also nervous, anxious in their hearts, wishing to replace Hanxing and dodge quickly. Senju Tobarama is thinking of good things. If he knew that the Senju family is now only left with Tsunade and Hanxing, he probably wouldn't think so. Then they gathered together, and in the blink of an eye, a 10-meter-long wooden dragon was crawling at the foot of first Hokage. Look, I'll say this kid is not easy. If you care about it, you will be messed up. Kid. I'm here. Let me see the power of my Senju clan junior. Senju Hashirama shouted, with a full second posture. 52% Chapter 271 Previous chapter Next chapter advertisement. As soon as Senju Hashirama's voice fell, the advancing green dragon suddenly increased in speed and appeared in front of Hanxing in an instant. Like a long snake, it entangled the black barrier in circles. Hanxing, who always felt the situation outside, frowned slightly, and the black truth-seeking ball instantly blocked the space above Hanxing, forming a cover like a black barrel. At the same time, a trace of water ripples appeared in the space where Hanxing was, and in the next instant, he took a step and disappeared in place. Senju Tobarama's body involuntarily formed a seal and shouted loudly. Earth style. Yellow Spring Marsh. Hum. The land around the Black Hood began to change rapidly, and it became muddy in the blink of an eye, like a river. What a nice boy. Senju Hashirama sighed with emotion, his eyes looking into the air. In the next instant, the waves rippling, the space is distorted, and Hanxing's figure quietly appears. His expression is flat. He waved his right hand, and the black hood below instantly transforms into its original appearance and appears in front of Hanxing. Space ninjutsu is a good one, Senju Tobarama gave a rare compliment. In a dark cave, it was filled with all kinds of coffins, which seemed to be on the graves, which made people feel creepy and eerie. A young man wearing a gray robe, with vertical eyes, and pale skin sat here, with a hint of surprise and stunned expression on his face, and said with a gloomy smile, I didn't expect that people from Impure World reincarnation would even be there. It can kill you. It seems that I underestimated you, Senjuhan. Advertisement, as expected. The original god of the ninja world. But, it can't end like this. Let me see whether you are the best, or the Senju Hashirama brothers in my state of liberation. Although the body is not enough to explode the full strength of Senju Hashirama, 70 to 80% of the strength is enough. White Zetsu is really a good sacrifice object. The gloomy voice echoed throughout the cave, like a roar of an evil spirit. Meanwhile Konoha, the two brothers Senju Hashirama on the wooden dragon felt the extra strength and chakra in their bodies, and their faces change. This power is comparable to my heyday. Who is behind the scenes? Senju Tobarama's face was ugly. His hands quickly formed a seal, the whole body was filled with chakra, his eyes were condensed, and he shouted, "Solution." Feeling the body still being manipulated, Senju Tobarama murmured, "Sure enough, still not unlocked." "Brother. How about you? 70% of the heyday. That guy is really good, he's really talented at impure world reincarnation." The honest Senju Hashirama praised. "Not good. This technique is." At this time, Senju Hashirama quickly formed the seal, his face changed greatly. "Boy, dodge, quick." Saying that, Senju Hashirama filled his body with chakra, and the turbulent chakra was like a substance. He slapped the ground fiercely, he shouted, "Wood style. The tree world is coming." Boom. Boom. The entire Konoha earth trembled, and a crack gradually emerged from the foot of Senju Hashirama, and the crack grew bigger and bigger. Trees burrowed out of it and grew bigger, until they were densely packed. The thick trees turned into vines with unparalleled impact and growth, and spread wildly around the leaves, like waves of trees and oceans. Advertisement wherever it goes, all obstacles are destroyed by it, turning the surrounding into a sea of trees. The sea of trees that covered the sky, like a resurrected gluttonous mouth, swallowed everything around it, and rushed towards Hanxing. It's too exaggerated. Kakashi swallowed his saliva involuntarily as he looked at the scene like a natural disaster in the distance. It's within the expected range. You must know that the first Hokage who ended the Sengoku era, no matter how exaggerated it is, it can be tolerated. Alas. Let's see how Hanxing intercepts it. If it can't be intercepted, I guess we Konoha. With a serious expression, Jiraiya turned her head to Shirju and waited. "Get ready. If Hanxing can't stop it, we'll take action. We must not let first generation's wood style destroy Konoha." "Understood, Jiraiya-sama," the people behind them said at the same time. "Is the tree world coming?" Hanxing frowned and murmured. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly, and he said with a smile, "Do you think I can't?" Under the horrified eyes of everyone, Hanxing filled his body with chakra, clapped his hands vigorously, and shouted, "Wood style. The tree world is coming." Boom. Boom. The earth began to shake violently again. Huge trees rose from under Hanxing's feet, turning into vines spreading out. These vines are taller and bigger than the vines on the opposite side. Not only are they tough, but they are also more alive, and their range is double that of Senju Hashirama's. If Senju Hashirama is a sea of trees and waves, then Hanxing is a boundless sea. No matter what aspect the two are, there is no comparison, and they are not on the same level at all. Advertisement looking at wood style, who was twice as large as his own sea of trees, Senju Hashirama was slightly startled, and then sighed. "I didn't expect it. This kid has even awakened my wood style. In this range, I am afraid that even in my heyday, I didn't have such a strong power. It seems that our Senju clan has produced a remarkable character." In his sigh, the moment of the sea of trees on both sides collided together. Boom. Boom. A huge roar resounded throughout Konoha. The sea of trees on both sides is like rolling waves, and the night and dawn compete for the control of the sky. The scene is not ordinary, it is like a picture of trees with magnificent scenery. The terrifying aftermath, like sharp wind blades, spread wildly around, like a natural disaster. It didn't take long for Senju Hashirama's tree world to come down and be defeated, and Hanxing's trees quickly devoured Senju Hashirama's territory like ants. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of the two of them. Looking at the vines that looked like giant pillars in the sky, the Senju Hashirama brothers not only did not have a trace of anger, but smiled. "Ha ha ha. Not bad. Not bad. The Senju clan is a successor." Senju Tobarama laughed. Hanxing's expression didn't change, his mind moved, and the surrounding vines looked like bloodthirsty demons revived from ancient times, and they fell to the Senju Hashirama brothers. Boom! Boom! It is like in the sky, the collapsed giant pillars of the Tiangong fell, and the giant pillars fell heavily like a rain of arrows. Suddenly there was a roaring sound like a sky falling on the ground. The dust was flying, the smoke filled the air, and the ground was directly blasted into a bottomless hole by these vines. Chapter 272 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. It's like an abyss, and it's terrifying to see. Hanxing frowned, looked in the direction of Lu Ju and the others, and murmured, "Really, can't we fight here? Damn big snake Kabuto." Hanxing said, his body suddenly disappeared in place. In the distance, Jiraiya looked at the scene not far away, her heart beating fast. This is blocking it? Really blocking it? Isn't this too rude? This is the legendary way of fighting violence with violence? Even Shodai's signature ninjutsu can be blocked? Lukisa lost his voice. What makes me a little confused is, when did Hanxing awaken wood style? The point is that the wood style developed here is better than Shodai, Kakashi said suspiciously. When several people spoke out, two figures suddenly appeared in front of them. "Yo, your name is Jiraiya? We meet again," first Hokage greeted. "Jiraiya. Kakashi. Kakashi. Other ninjas. You can just fight, why do you still come to our side? We're just little people watching the show, and in the end, by the way, we will be the errands at the end." Advertisement. Jiraiya complained for a while. Tukao returned to Tukao. Jiraiya and the others had no choice but to say, "Two adults. What are you doing here? We're just watching a show. Don't involve us. Do you think this matter is under our control? What are you doing standing still? Why don't you run away?" Senju Tobarama said with a hatred of iron. While he was talking, his hands were quickly knotted, and chakra surging all over his body. He shouted, "Water style." Big burst of water. Wow! Large swaths of seawater emerged out of thin air, covering half of the Konoha, turning the area around Senju Tobarama into a huge area of water in an instant. Whizzing. One after another swirling ocean waves shot at Jiraiya and others not far away with bursts of air-breaking sounds. Each wave is comparable to the sharp kunai, shuriken and other iron weapons. Looking at the surrounding waters, Jiraiya first exclaimed, as expected of second Hokage, it created a sea area in a place without water and changed the landscape. Then his face changed, chakra surging on his body, his silver white hair curled up, and it turned into a circular barrier to wrap everyone around. Before they could think about it, the sky suddenly darkened, and a huge black hood covered Jiraiya and the others, protecting them. The surrounding water waves hit the black hood directly, making a huge roar. Watching the true several thousand hands fall with a clack-clack-like sound, the two brothers Senju Hashirama and Tobarama showed a trace of worry on their faces. After a while, a terrifying phantom appeared around Konoha. This phantom covered the sky and stood upright, comparable to a huge mountain. Even the tailed beast was a younger brother in front of him, and he could hold 9 with one hand. Tails play as pets. Advertisement. Jiraiya, who was still a little dizzy just now and had not yet regained consciousness, saw a giant shadow covering the sky not far away, and a classic national curse suddenly uttered, F*K. The pattern of Sage Mode suddenly appeared on his face, and he entered Sage Mode. On the top of the mountain above the Hokage rock, the surrounding space was rippling, and Hanxing's Hanxing and Jiraiya and others appeared here. Turning his hand back to its original shape, he turned his head and saw the towering Senju Guanyin. Countless sturdy and terrifying giant trees grow from the bottom of the sea, like ferocious sea pythons, swallowing snake letters with every move. Sorry to make us right. Senju Hashirama has just finished saying that his body is uncontrollably sealed again, and at the same time, the huge chakra is like reality. Fourth update today. Don't wait, Brothers 1. The figure disappeared in a flash. If he doesn't appear again, it is estimated that the entire Konoha will be destroyed by this Senju Guanyin. As Senju Hashirama's words fell, the true several thousand hands beneath him suddenly made a sound like wood shattering. Click. Click. In mid-air, Hanxing looked at the two figures in front of him, and said with a flat expression, "You too? Sorry." The same goes for the others behind them, not only with horror, but also with a hint of fear in their eyes. Not far away, Hanxing looked at Senju Avalokitesvara in front of him with a dignified expression. On top of Avalokitesvara's head, the two Senju Hashirama brothers stood with their chests crossed. At this time, Senju Hashirama looked serious and said, "Be careful, boy. You must resist this old man. Hope Lord Hanxing can stop it, otherwise, we Konoha are finished," Lu Kuman prayed. The Senju Hashirama who cast Sage Art, the terrifying chakra is boundless enough to describe, and chakra also enters the celestial art chakra. Advertisement. After he finished speaking, he said solemnly, word by word, "Turn into a Buddha on the top." Hanxing's body is even smaller than 9 tails. Compared with the Senju Guanyin in front of him, Hanxing is like a tiny ant. The two are in the same sky. Damn! This bastard can even control this. Senju Hashirama's face changed drastically, and he yelled at Hanxing frantically, "Get away! Get them away!" Hanxing frowned and thought to himself, "You have even performed this trick. The big snake Kabuto is really good." As soon as the voice fell, Senju Hashirama shouted, "Sage art! Wood style! True several thousand hands!" There was a sudden burst of strong fluctuations on the bottom of the sea, like an earth dragon turning over and shaking the sky. Go. No. No way. Kakashi just wanted to scold like Jiraiya, but after thinking about it, he still didn't scold. But the horror in his eyes couldn't be concealed. This figure is a huge bodhisattva, and there are countless arms extending around the bodhisattva, and it even expands the size of the bodhisattva many times out of thin air. Accompanied by this tingling sound, the countless arms on Senju Guanyin suddenly clenched into fists, like a violent storm, crashing down towards Hanxing. From a distance, it looks like a god who descends into the world, smashing all the evil in the world. Boom! With a thought, he took Jiraiya and others into the different space, and the moment Hanxing left, Hanxing's face wrinkled, and with a wave of his right hand, the black hood instantly turned into a truth-seeking ball and returned to him, and his other hand turned into a sturdy vine to bind the people behind him one by one. Is this the strength of first Hokage-sama? If this falls, it is estimated that our Konoha will disappear in an instant. 9 tails is not enough to grasp with one hand in front of it, Yamanaka Kai said absent-mindedly. These thick trees, under the idea of Senju Hashirama, come together and form together. Because of its appearance, the whole world is darkened. Chapter 273 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. No one knows the horror of this true several thousand hands better than the two brothers. It is a terrible move that smashes Uchiha Madara's full-body Susanoo to pieces, and it is the strongest of all his wood-style moves. Below, Hanxing looked at the dense fists. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, but his eyes were incomparably flat, and the ancient well did not waver. What's the use of more fists? It's not as good as his punch. It's time to try that trick, Hanxing murmured. A terrifying aura suddenly erupted from the whole body. This momentum is like a stormy sea, with the power of speechless Lunbu, spreading wildly into the distance. The surrounding sea water was attracted by this momentum, and ripples instantly swayed, like boiling water. This momentum is so strong, much stronger than me. Senju Tobirama frowned. It's very strong. It seems that I didn't have this momentum when I was at my peak. Senju Hashirama smiled honestly. As soon as the two finished speaking, a terrifying chakra erupted from Hanxing. This chakra is like a flood in the sky, just like the substance. A huge chakra beam of light rises into the sky, making the dark sky appear a little light. Hanxing's hair fluttered all over his body, his robes were bulging, his face was indifferent but calm, his fists were clenched, his whole body muscles were violent, and his forehead was blue veins. The figure suddenly appeared directly above the Senju Hashirama brothers, shouting, "Shishyong." At the same time, the clenched fist suddenly waved. Advertisement hum. A huge terrifying beam of light suddenly fell from the sky. This beam of light is the air cannon that Hanxing used his physical strength to achieve ultimate. This air cannon is like a holy light that falls from the sky. The scope of the beam of light to purify all evil in the ninja world is extremely wide, and it instantly enveloped half of the true several thousand hands, and the most important thing is to envelope the Senju Hashirama brothers in the beam of light. At this time, the issued true several thousand hands discovered where Hanxing was, and the giant fists attacked Hanxing in the sky like shooting stars. Crack clap. The thick arm that was attacked did not show any signs of shattering, but it melted quickly like white snow in the spring. Boom! An earth-shattering roar sounded, and the entire Konoha began to vibrate violently in this roar. The true several thousand hands below, including the Senju Hashirama brothers, turned into nothingness. The huge true several thousand hands was blasted into two halves by the beam of light that covered the sky. Yu Wei continues to blast into the devolved land. In the shaking of the sky, the seawater below suddenly appeared the phenomenon of backflow, a huge submarine vortex quietly formed, and the surrounding seawater began to decline at a speed that can be reduced by the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, it dropped by more than half, and it was even a crazy drop. Vaguely, Hanxing could see a pothole that was half a small leaf, emerging here. At this time, the bodies of the two disappearing Senju Hashirama brothers began to gather quickly like dust. Hanxing didn't want to give the two of them a chance. After the two of them had just condensed their heads, the dark gray turned into a sharp sword with lightning and directly cut the two's heads in half. Then, under the gaze of Hanxing, the souls of the two of them ascended to the Pure Land. Advertisement. He also did not expect that the four shadows of the past dynasties would be released by Impure World Reincarnation and attack Konoha. I am afraid that today's scene will be unforgettable by all the ninjas present. In fact, he wanted to say it, and he also had it in his heart, but he couldn't say it explicitly. At this time, Jiraiya and the others, their eyes were dull and their mouths wide open. Obviously they had not recovered from Hanxing's punch. Hearing Hanxing's words, Jiraiya, who is an old Kage level, suddenly recovered and smiled bitterly. "Excuse me, Hanxing." "Huh. Finally gone." Inazukazuo breathed a sigh of relief behind him. Hanxing shook his head and said calmly, "It's been resolved. But, it's up to you to clean up this mess of Konoha." "That's your problem." Lu Ju shook his head. At the same time, two white lights emerged from brothers Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama, their souls. Power. It's hard to say, but it's very strong. So far, there hasn't been a single bloodline that let him use his full power, but there was one during the fourth battle. Others who understood what Jiraiya meant also looked at Shikahisa. "That's right. Based on thunder and lightning, add yin and yang to enhance the power of thunder and lightning." Hanxing nodded. "Boy. Well done. No shame for our Senju clan." Senju Hashirama laughed. "Sure enough. Senju clan has you. Konoha has you. We can rest assured." Senju Tobarama's serious face showed a rare smile. "Kakashi. Go early. Go back early." Everyone present knew Kushina's identity. It was the other Nine Tails Jinchuriki outside Naruto, so no one had any opinion. Advertisement. Don't talk about it. Hanxing is no longer on the same level as us. Saying that is not the same. Let's think about how to clean up the mess in front of you. Jiraiya looked into the distance and sighed. "No trouble. How can I say that I am also a member of Konoha?" A smile appeared on Hanxing's mouth. "Obito, Madara, and Otsutsuki Kagaya. Did you fail?" "Sure enough, it's Hanxing-sama." "Well, it's time to leave." "Senjuhan who will meet soon. The next time we meet, it won't be so simple to say hello." Quietly, Hanxing walked up to Hinata, rubbed Hinata's hair, and said softly, "I'm leaving. Take care of yourself. If nothing else happens, Tsunade and I will be back tomorrow." "What's wrong?" Aburame Jui asked. This sentence was asked when Hanxing killed Yuan Fei Hiruzen and Namikaze Minato, but it has been delayed until now. "Yeah. Be careful," Hinata said in a shy and flushed face in front of so many people. "Good job, Junior. Is your thunderbolt also a fusion of yin and yang?" Senju Tobarama first praised, then asked. After confirming that the two disappeared, Hanxing moved and appeared in front of Jiraiya and others. In the deserted cave, looking at the four chess pieces in front of them that were all on fire, there was no loss on his face, but a smile on his face. After a pause, he said, "It's up to you to come down. I have to go to the Five Shadows conference." Kushina is still there, I'm a little worried. The gloomy voice echoed throughout the cave, making people tremble and shudder. Yeah. Nodding slightly, he waved to Jiraiya and the others, his figure moved, and he plunged into the vortex of space. After saying that, look at Lu Ju. I don't know why, after watching the battle between Hanxing and the 4 Hokage adults today, I always felt that there was a coercion on him, which made me dare not look directly, and felt a little scared in my heart. Hanxing's thunder and lightning was originally mixed with Yin Dun, and after his realm was upgraded to 6 paths, Yang Dun was added. Chapter 274 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. In the Land of Iron, the conference room, not long after Hanxing left, Tsunade and Onogi discussed it for a long time, and they did not continue. No way, Tsunade is not interested. The other 3 shadows express their understanding. After all, their village has been attacked by the shadows of all dynasties, and no one will feel better. This is not only killing, but also attacking the heart. It is not an ordinary poison. The space was rippling with ripples, and Hanxing walked out of it. How? Is it resolved? Tsunade asked anxiously. Yeah. All of them have been sent to the Pure Land, but Konoha has been destroyed in half again, Hanxing said. It's okay. Just fix it. The big deal is to rebuild the destroyed Konoha. Tsunade waved his hand indifferently. Hokage. Now that the Konoha matter has been resolved, let's go. I will inform Rock Shinobi of the meeting as soon as possible. Onogi gave Hanxing a complicated look and said solemnly. Yes. Just as we said at the meeting, in a week's time, all the ninjas of the 5 countries will gather at the border between the 2 countries of Fenglei. Okay. Sanoki finished, and left with the 2 guards behind him. Not long after Onogi left, Gaara also left and returned to San Shinobi village to prepare everything. A week passed in the blink of an eye, and the ninjas of the 5 countries, led by the senior leaders of the countries, rushed towards the border between the 2 countries one after another. Advertisement after that, according to the content of the 5 Shadows talks, all the ninjas in the country will be officially renamed as the Ninja United Army. Tsunade is the commander-in-chief of the coalition, 4th Hokage is the general staff of the coalition, and Gaara is the commander-in-chief of the coalition. In order to lead the overall situation, Tsunade sits at the headquarters and the other shadows go to the front. The purpose is to protect 8 Tails Jinchuriki and 9 Tails Jinchuriki from being captured by the Akatsuki organization and prevent Uchiha Obito from completing Project Tasuki no Mi. Afterwards, before the battle, Gaara delivered an exciting speech in front of 80,000 ninjas as the commander-in-chief of the ninja coalition. Meanwhile, in the dark cave, with Uchiha Obito, standing there peacefully. At this time, Obito did not have Nagato's Rinnegan, so his eyes could only be 2 different Sharingans, and behind him was the Uchiha clan fan. He said indifferently, the 5 kingdoms are ready. Even 8 Tails and 9 Tails Jinchuriki have been moved to a very secret place. How about you? Don't worry, since I dare to cooperate with you, I will definitely not let you down, Orochi Kabuto smiled sadly. The hands quickly formed the seal, and the long black coffins rose from the cave. First of all, it's the powerhouse of Akatsuki's organization. Pat. Pat. Hanxing wasn't very interested in the kind of ant-like fighting outside. Even the shadows of various countries were just bigger ants in his eyes, and they could kill them instantly with a single move. Tsunade sits in the commander's seat and controls the overall situation. The ninjas of the Konoha Yamanaka clan, as well as Nara Shikahisa, a high IQ ninja, and Yamanaka Kaiichi, serve as the information transmission and command. The purpose of this war is to protect 8 Tails and 9 Tails from being acquired by Akatsuki. Now Naruto is practicing in Mount Myoboku, and with Jiraiya, the concealment is very good. Advertisement not far from Tsunade, Kushina is doing restlessly here. At the center of the command, there is a huge water ball, which is a sensory water ball, controlled by multiple sensory ninjas. It is a kind of ninjutsu that combines water style and perception by Kirigakure, and can clearly feel every change in the battlefield. In that case, let's get started. Although Hanxing is nothing here, they know that to a certain extent, Hanxing's power is more than the commander-in-chief Tsunade, and this is the benefit of strength. Next to the perception ball, Hanxing looked at it strangely. A small water polo could sense the situation of the entire Fourth World War battlefield. It must be said that even his electromagnetic induction could not do it. Finally, Orochi Kabuto narrowed his eyes and looked at Obito. It's your 100,000 enhanced white Zetsu. Under the ground, the dense white Zetsu stood there with different expressions. The words of the big snake Kabuto fell, many coffins were raised on the ground, the coffin board fell, and the vague figures inside could be vaguely seen. Jinchuriki in all dynasties, as well as the famous strong men in the ninja world. Feeling the fluctuations in the sphere, Yamanaka Haii's face was a little ugly. Tsukahisa. The situation is not very good. I didn't expect Akatsuki to bring out Impure World Reincarnation, the movie capital of all dynasties, and we don't have much advantage in high-end combat power. It's night time before you know it. Now that those bosses will come out later, Hanxing has nothing to do, so he will focus on the perception water polo. It has merged with Itachi's Mangekyo, opening the eternal Mangekyo. After that, he will act on his own. With his strength, I think it will cause some trouble for the Ninja Alliance. All he really has to do is fight back. 6 pads Madara, 6 pads Obito and Otsutsuki Kagaya. 8 tails are hidden in a secret place by Raikage. Kushina is the Yin 9 tails. Tsunade thinks about having her beside Hanxing. Advertisement. Everyone who knew Hanxing's strength naturally didn't say much, just looked at him with awe. As for what Hanxing does, Tsunade doesn't care, nor can he. Hanxing is the last weapon of their ninja alliance. Ninja Coalition Command. How about Uchiha Sasuke? However, this perceptual water ball is not a technique released by one person, but released by multiple people, something like an enchantment, like the enchantment that wraps the entire country of fire. Don't worry. The behind-the-scenes messengers of Impure World Reincarnation will never control so many people at once. Although the shadows of various countries will do it themselves, their souls will definitely be directed towards us. This is our chance. Lu Ju's eyes flashed brightly, immediately thought of the pros and cons of things. Obito's words mean that the fourth war of the ninja world officially broke out. Hanxing ignored the words of the two of Shikuji, and at this time, he had already turned his attention to the battle between the 3 girls, Hinata, Ino, and Terumi Mei. It's not good. Hokage-sama. Konoha behind the front line was raided. Secondly, all generations of cage-level powerhouses in various countries. The coffin board in front of him fell, and the dead Akatsuki organization powerhouses stood there with their eyes closed. Itachi, Kakuzu, Nagato. After eating something casually, Hanxing continued to pay attention to the battle of the girls. At this time, an urgent report came in. The 3 women are all top-notch in the Ninja Coalition, and Hanxing is still a little worried. After all, she is his woman. What Lu Ju said is quite right, but even so, the Ninja Alliance is still slightly at a disadvantage, and there are too many ninjas in the Impure World Reincarnation without Hexiao. Chapter 275 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. The corner of Hanxing's mouth twitched, and he didn't need to think to know who it was. He must have forced King Sasuke to take his team and seek revenge for the 2 politicians, Utatane Kaharu and Mitokado Homura. If he guessed correctly, Sasuke, the current Force King, has merged with Itachi's Mangekyo to open up the same eternal Mangekyo as Madara. Who was the attacker? Tsunade asked immediately. Sure enough, the next moment, the intelligence officer's words were just as Hanxing expected. The rear front Konoha was attacked by Uchiha Sasuke, killing 2 elders, Utatane Kaharu and Mitokado Homura. He is trying to destroy Junga Kaharu. What? Uchiha Sasuke? That damned bastard. I knew that my mother wanted that kid directly, but at this critical moment, Tsunade said with a livid face. Although she has long been unhappy with those 2 politicians, now that she is dead, naturally she will not be sad, but what makes her livid is that the bastard Sasuke entered and attacked Konoha at this time. Today's Konoha, all around Shunin, were sent to the front line by Tsunade, leaving only some genin and some children, who couldn't stop Uchiha Sasuke's attack at all. At this moment, Tsunade regretted, why did he listen to that bastard Naruto and didn't capture Uchiha Sasuke back? Otherwise, this situation would not have happened. Konoha was attacked once by Pain not long ago, and once again by the four shadows of the past from summoning. Plus the current Uchiha Sasuke. Tsunade couldn't imagine it. This is the front line, there is a lot of distance from Konoha, and it can return quickly. For a time, Tsunade turned his attention to Hanxing, hoping that Hanxing would take a shot. But if Hanxing shoots, what will Kushina do? The only way is to let Hanxing take Kushina and the two rush back to Konoha. Hanxing. Bring Kushina to support Konoha with space ninjutsu. Be sure to catch that kid from the Uchiha clan. Tsunade frowned and gritted his teeth. Advertisement. No. If I guessed correctly, Naruto should rush over. It's time for them to fight and understand all the grievances. Hanxing shook his head. What do you mean? Tsunade was puzzled. Remember what I told you about Indra and Ashura? Remember? Tsunade was a little puzzled. Why did Hanxing suddenly say this? Suddenly, a message came to her mind, and she said in surprise, You won't tell me that this year's reincarnation is the two of them? That's right, so sooner or later the two of them will have a fight. If you don't believe it, just wait, there will be news about Naruto versus Sasuke soon. Impossible. How can you be as good as you said? Tsunade shook his head, obviously not believing that Hanxing's words would be so accurate. How could Naruto appear in Konoha when he was still Mount Myoboku? The next moment, an urgent report came again. The Whirlpool Naruto and Jiraiya-sama who practiced at Mount Nayagi have returned to Konoha and are fighting with Uchiha Sasuke. However, Jiraiya-sama didn't make a move, but was on the sidelines. As soon as this information appeared, Tsunade was stunned, looking at Hanxing full of scrutiny and surprise. After a while, he said seriously, Can you predict the future? Hanxing smiled bitterly. If I could predict the future, what would I be doing here? That expression definitely resembled the possession of the actor of the previous world. Humph. Forget it. Tsunade waved his hand. Hanxing didn't want to say it, and she wouldn't force Hanxing either. Advertisement Ninja Frontline. In a camp. One by one small tents stood on the ground, and these tents were neatly arranged like a phalanx. There are all kinds of Konoha ninjas in and out, chatting and farting. Here, it is the tent where the Konoha shinobi people are stationed. Although the ninja coalition has now been formed, when camping, it is natural to choose acquaintances from their respective villages to be together. In a medium-sized tent, two women, Ino and Hinata, are staying here. With the strength of the two women, one tent per person is also possible. Who let the two get used to staying together, so the two women asked for a tent. Hinata. How is it today? Are you still used to it? Ino walked up to Hinata and took off his Jonin vest, revealing the loose shirt underneath. It's okay. Hinata whispered while taking off his vest. That's it. I think it's very good. Those white Zetsu are so weak, like a whack-a-mole punch. They can kill a lot of people. Ino was very interested and excited. Yeah. It's really simple, but, Ino, you have to be careful. Remember to keep some chakra for yourself. Don't rush too fast. Hinata reminded in a low voice. Don't worry, Ino patted his chest confidently. At this moment, the space above the two women's tents swayed with ripples. Ino and Hinata's daughters' faces lit up with a smile, and there was no one else except Hanxing who could play in this way. Advertisement. Sure enough, not long after, Hanxing walked out. As soon as he appeared, he hugged the two women in front of him, sniffed the familiar fragrance of the two women's hair, and said softly, You two performed well today. I see them all, but Ino, you yourself are today. It's too far ahead. Oops. Got it. Isn't that the excitement of just entering the battlefield? You and Hinata just said exactly the same. Ino squinted his eyes and pouted a little cute. Why are you here? Hinata asked in a low voice. I have some things to deal with here. I'm afraid you will have a little accident, Hanxing said truthfully. He remembered that in the original book, White Zetsu changed into others who started to attack Konoha's various stations on the night of the war. Konoha lost a lot of people that night. The point is, the change of White Zetsu is difficult to undo. In the original work, Naruto Master has 9 Tails mode. Using 9 Tails mode to sense who is malicious, this matter can be solved successfully. Hinata, Ino, are you sleeping? The tent was opened, and little Sakura came in from outside. Hanxing. Why are you here? Little Sakura had a hint of surprise in her eyes. Shouldn't you? Little Sakura said. Her face became extremely hot, like a red apple. She felt herself it's not the time. No, Little Sakura. Where did you think? Hinata broke free from Hanxing's embrace and explained shyly. I've really convinced you. I eat your dog food at school, and I'll have to eat it when I get here. Don't talk about it, I'll go first. Save your troubles. Little Sakura said, turning around and hurriedly leaving go. At this moment, Hanxing put his arm on Little Sakura's shoulder and said with a half smile, Are you sure you want to leave? What? Do you still want me to stay here and eat your dog food? Little Sakura said angrily. The two girls, Ino and Hinata, were a little puzzled. They remembered that Hanxing and Little Sakura didn't have such a good relationship, so how could he suddenly be on Little Sakura's shoulder?